Chapter 1490. You're following him? Wuji rubbed his head and asked Chun Xiang, Brother Chun, is there a shortage of people in Chuanjin? Chun Xiang replied wretchedly, there are quite a few male players, but it doesn't matter how many female players there are. Ma Lanhua just left the guild. Really? Where did she go? Wuji opened the guild window and asked Bao San. Ma Lanhua was usually the closest to Bao San. Bao San replied, she said her father is sick, so she's going home. Oh, does anyone have any objections? Wuji asked the others. I don't care. Wang Yu shrugged. The Quan Zhen sect wasn't the type of guild that would choose its members based on their strength. Although Wuji often talked about the elite system, that was only for combat-type players. As for female players, as long as they got along well, having one more person wouldn't make a difference. At the very most, when there was a big operation, they would get an extra share. But with Meng Shi's wealth, she wouldn't have any objections even if she didn't get a share. What about you guys? Wuji turned to ask the others. Ming Jian Daoshua wanted to object, but it was useless. Chun Xiang and Mingdu were excited, especially to place one's pride. He ran up to Meng Shi and said, Sister Meng Shi, I'm to place one's pride. I'm Daoshua's best brother. Welcome to Chuanjin. Wuji was speechless. What about you guys? Do you want to stay? Wang Yu raised his chin and asked Lok Bai and the others, you guys are quite capable. Do you want to join Chuanjin? Quite capable. Hearing Wang Yu's evaluation, Lok Bai and the others were in tears again. In any case, the St. Church battle team was an internationally renowned top-tier battle team. Who would have thought that in Wang Yu's eyes, they would only be considered to have some skills? Forget about them. Meng Shi waved her hand. If they don't go back, I'm afraid I'll be called back. Heh, I didn't expect this chick to be so smart. Alright, then you can leave. Wang Yu nodded and snapped his fingers at the tavern owner. Let them go. Yes, City Lord. The tavern owner bowed respectfully to Wang Yu, and Lok Bai and the rest received the news. Your imprisonment time is over. I hope you will abide by the law and be a law-abiding citizen. Seeing this, Meng Shi suddenly came to a realization. No wonder these fellows couldn't escape. It turned out that Wang Yu had imprisoned them. She didn't think that being a city lord was quite interesting. No wonder Sword Point to the Heavens and his group were willing to risk their lives to become city lords. After Wang Yu unsealed the members of the Templar battle team, Meng Shi said a few words to them and sent them out of the tavern. At this moment, Wang Yu knocked on the table and said, Dao Shue's matter has been settled, shouldn't my matter be settled as well? You? Hearing Wang Yu's words, everyone from the Chuanjin sect asked in bewilderment, What do you want? Bro. Wang Yu was speechless. Bro, in order to save you, I was assassinated in broad daylight and plotted a rebellion. Shouldn't I talk about this? It seemed like Wang Yu still held a grudge against him for being plotted a rebellion. Speaking of which, it was true that Wang Yu was kind-hearted, but he wasn't the kind of person who wouldn't retaliate when hit or scolded. Don't look at how Wang Yu didn't pay attention to the city's construction and popularity. Ever since Wang Yu became the city lord, he had been helping Yu Huiqing obtain economic benefit. Even if he couldn't be said to have racked his brains, he could be said to have been very conscientious. Yu Huiqing's economy had been rising, and his main city's ranking had even surpassed District 7's main city, God of War City. For so long, under Chuanjin's leadership, Yu Huiqing's players were also proud and elated. Even if it wasn't a meritorious deed, it was still hard work. Such a good city lord was plotted a rebellion for no reason. Was there still any law? Was there still any law? It was as if Wang Yu had helped others, but was stabbed in the back. With Wang Yu's temper, how could he take this lying down? TSK. I thought it was something serious. The people from Chuanjin said in disdain, Just say it. If you go and slaughter sword-pointing sky, would they dare to fart? Nonsense. Wang Yu said gloomily, Without any evidence, how can I do it? I'm not you guys. Indeed, Wang Yu was different from the others in Chuanjin. This kid was a little moral. Without evidence, killing people for no reason wasn't Wang Yu's style. However, it wasn't Wang Yu's idea to suffer in silence. That's easy, you can do this. Wu Ji smiled as he gave an idea to Wang Yu. Just leave this to Blood Alliance. Just like that. Wang Yu was confused when he heard Wu Ji's idea. Of course, Wu Ji said confidently, this is a plan to drive the tiger to swallow the wolf. Will Blood Red War Flag go? Wang Yu asked. Of course they will go. Wu Ji smiled. Blood Alliance and Sword Pointing Sky have an ancestral grudge. If it wasn't for you being unhappy, Blood Red War Flag would have slaughtered them long ago. Moreover, at this point, Wu Ji paused and said, there are no eternal enemies, but there are eternal benefits. TSK, TSK, TSK. After Wu Ji's advice, Wang Yu exclaimed, despicable brat, you are really doing good by playing games. Hey! Wu Ji was furious. After what the Templar battle team did, it was already 7 or 8 o'clock. It was the time for players to come online. He opened his friends list and saw that Blood Red War Flag was online. Wang Yu sent a message to Blood Red War Flag. Where are you? Are you free? I have something to talk to you about. Very quickly, Blood Red War Flag replied, where are you? I'll go find you. Blood Red War Flag usually replied to Wang Yu's messages instantly. After all, Wang Yu and the others helped them take down a main city. Blood Red War Flag's gratitude towards Chuanjin came from the bottom of their heart. Since Wang Yu was looking for him, he had to be free no matter how busy he was. Tavern, Wang Yu replied. I'll be there soon. 3 minutes later, Blood Red War Flag arrived at the tavern. When they saw Chuanjin and the others, they greeted them from afar. Nyogo, boss Wu Ji was also very perceptive. When he saw Blood Red War Flag, he quickly moved to the side and gave Blood Red War Flag a seat. Blood Red War Flag didn't hesitate and directly sat in the seat between Wu Ji and Wang Yu. Nyogo, why are you looking for me? Blood Red War Flag was very curious about Wang Yu's intentions. Old Blood, Wang Yu said sincerely. Which district is your guild in charge of? Central Administrative District, Blood Red War Flag replied. Oh, no wonder. Wang Yu rubbed his chin. Central Administrative District is Yu Huiqing's front. You guys don't have enough development. Are you always busy with your own things? Chapter 1491. Oh? Then which one is first? Wang Yu asked. This. Blood Red War Flag said embarrassedly, Sword in the Sky's West District. It wasn't a secret that Sword in the Sky and Blood Alliance had a grudge. Chuanjin had been dragged in as well. In terms of guild size, Blood Alliance was many times bigger than Sword in the Sky. Moreover, the area they managed was much better than the desolate West District. However, in terms of building and popularity, Blood Alliance was much worse than Sword in the Sky. Even though they knew that their leader wasn't lacking in money, such a gap made it hard for Blood Red War Flag to raise their heads. Wang Yu sighed. How I wish that you guys were first. I'm sorry, Nyogu. When I go back, I will tell the brothers of Blood Alliance to work hard on building. Blood Red War Flag obviously didn't understand Wang Yu's meaning. They thought that Wang Yu had called them over to criticize them. Seeing Blood Red War Flag being so dumb, Wang Yu was helpless. He just said honestly, the West District is pretty good. Now that the building is almost done, Blood Alliance can move back. What? Blood Red War Flag thought that they had heard incorrectly and said in shock, we can move back? Can we really? What about Sword in the Sky? Wang Yu said calmly, only the capable can live in a city district. If you can, then you can do whatever you want. If you can't, then it's because you don't have the ability. At this point, if Blood Red War Flag still did not understand what Wang Yu meant, then they would really be stupid. Wasn't it obvious that Sword in the Sky had somehow offended Wang Yu? Wang Yu wanted Blood Alliance to take Sword in the Sky's harvest. Sword in the Sky was a new guild in Yu Huiqing. When it rose up, they poached Blood Alliance's pro players and surrounded Chuanjin. They were experts at digging their own grave. Blood Alliance and Sword in the Sky definitely didn't want to deal with each other. The West City District was now so prosperous that Blood Red War Flag had long been envious. Forget about the grudge between them, even if the two guilds got along peacefully, Blood Red War Flag still wanted to take a bite out of them. What were the tens of thousands of Blood Alliance brothers for? Wasn't it just to help him gain face? The reason why he hadn't dared to make a move was because the Sword Against the Sky area was still under Yu Huiqing's jurisdiction. Yu Huiqing had the final say in Chuanjin. No one dared to disrespect Wang Yu. Now that Wang Yu had personally requested for them to take over Finger the Heavens territory, Blood Red War Flag had no reason to reject him. After learning of Wang Yu's intentions, Blood Red War Flag said excitedly, "Nyogu, I understand what you mean." Wuji interrupted, "Did the old cow say anything? That's your Blood Alliance and sword points at the Heavens business. Don't drag us into it." Understood, understood. Blood Red War Flag smiled evilly. He just needed Wang Yu to nod his head. Did he need anyone to order him to take over Finger the Heavens territory? He could easily come up with 100 excuses, all right? Okay, it's none of your business. Go back to work. Wuji waved his hand at Blood Red War Flag. Blood Red War Flag excitedly left the tavern. Tisk! Mengshi was filled with disdain towards the actions of Wang Yu and Wuji. Cunning! All is fair in war, do you understand? Wuji said shamelessly, "This is wisdom." Within Finger the Heavens office, Don't Shoot and Big Bear had interacted with Chuanjin before. They knew that they had all sorts of methods to extort confessions. Naturally, they wouldn't completely believe Mengshi's words. At this time, they had already gathered their subordinates and were prepared for Chuanjin to declare war. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no movement. This scared Don't Shoot and Big Bear badly. With their understanding of Chuanjin, they might be planning something bad. If everyone took revenge on the spot, Don't Shoot wouldn't be worried. After all, Chuanjin were greedy. As long as Finger the Heavens stretched out its neck and let them slice it twice and then gave them some money, it would be settled. In Don't Shoot's eyes, anything that could be solved with money wasn't a problem. However, Chuanjin didn't react. They were obviously stabbing them in the back. How could Don't Shoot not be afraid? If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't know what to say, Don't Shoot would have sent a message to Wang Yu to admit his mistake. Just as Don't Shoot and Big Bear didn't know what to do, a system notification rang in their ears. Blood Alliance has declared war on your guild, Finger the Heavens. What would come sooner or later. Hearing the notification, the two of them were like fugitives who had been on the run for many years. Their hearts were filled with joy. However, when they saw the name of the guild that declared war on them, they were stunned. Damn, it wasn't Chuanjin, it was Blood Alliance. Who in Yu Huiqing didn't know how strong Chuanjin was? If he admitted defeat to Chuanjin, everyone would understand. Finger the Heavens and Blood Alliance were competitors. Blood Alliance declaring war on Finger the Heavens was obviously adding insult to injury. Don't Shoot was furious and immediately sent a message to Blood Red War Flag. Damn! Blood Red War Flag, what is the meaning of this? Are you determined to be Chuanjin's dog? Hee hee. Blood Alliance saw the message and coldly laughed. What does it have to do with Chuanjin? We received news that Finger the Heavens has been very arrogant recently and is trying to harm Blood Alliance. Bullsh *T. Don't Shoot raged. Why don't you say that Chuanjin wants to wipe out Blood Alliance too? Nonsense. Do you think they can't do it? Blood Red War Flag shamelessly said, "Wash your neck and wait for me to take over your territory." F***ck your mom. Seeing blood-red war flag's reply, Don't Shoot was so furious that veins popped out on his forehead. What is going on with blood-red war flag? Big Bear saw that the leader was so angry and couldn't help but ask. Don't Shoot said angrily, What else can they do? They just want to fight. Seeing that our West City district is developing well, they want to take the fruits of our labor. No wonder these bastards didn't make a move. They were waiting for a chance to make a move. Then what do we do now? Big Bear thought about it and said, I heard that Blood Alliance just took in the Underworld King team and their strength has increased greatly. Moreover, the strength of their players isn't something we can compare to. Indeed, Blood Alliance was an old guild and had a lot of resources. Even if they were a little weak now, as long as their name was still there would be many experts joining. Finger the Heavens was different. It was just a new guild and only had around 10,000 people. Moreover, most of them were people who hired low-level accounts to support them. There were only 3,000 to 4,000 players who had actual strength. Compared to Blood Alliance's 30,000 experts, be it overall strength or teamwork, they were much weaker. If they really fought, Finger the Heavens would definitely be the one at a disadvantage. Chapter 1492. Oh? Then which one is first? Wang Yu asked. This. Blood-red war flag said embarrassedly, Sword in the Sky's West District. It wasn't a secret that Sword in the Sky and Blood Alliance had a grudge. Chuanjin had been dragged in as well. In terms of guild size, Blood Alliance was many times bigger than Sword in the Sky. Moreover, the area they managed was much better than the desolate West District. However, in terms of building and popularity, Blood Alliance was much worse than Sword in the Sky. Even though they knew that their leader wasn't lacking in money, such a gap made it hard for Blood-Red War Flag to raise their heads. Wang Yu sighed. How I wish that you guys were first. I'm sorry, Nyogu. When I go back, I will tell the Brothers of Blood Alliance to work hard on building. Blood-Red War Flag obviously didn't understand Wang Yu's meaning. They thought that Wang Yu had called them over to criticize them. Seeing Blood-Red War Flag being so dumb, Wang Yu was helpless. He just said honestly, the West District is pretty good. Now that the building is almost done, Blood Alliance can move back. What? Blood-Red War Flag thought that they had heard incorrectly and said in shock, We can move back? Can we really? What about Sword in the Sky? Wang Yu said calmly, Only the capable can live in a city district. If you can, then you can do whatever you want. If you can't, then it's because you don't have the ability. At this point, if Blood-Red War Flag still did not understand what Wang Yu meant, then they would really be stupid. Wasn't it obvious that Sword in the Sky had somehow offended Wang Yu? Wang Yu wanted Blood Alliance to take Sword in the Sky's harvest. Sword in the Sky was a new guild in Yuhuiqing. When it rose up, they poached Blood Alliance's pro players and surrounded Chuanjin. They were experts at digging their own grave. Blood Alliance and Sword in the Sky definitely didn't want to deal with each other. The West City District was now so prosperous that Blood-Red War Flag had long been envious. Forget about the grudge between them, even if the two guilds got along peacefully, Blood-Red War Flag still wanted to take a bite out of them. What were the tens of thousands of Blood Alliance brothers for? Wasn't it just to help him gain face? The reason why he hadn't dared to make a move was because Sword Against the Sky was still under Yu Huiqing's jurisdiction. Yu Huiqing had the final say in Chuanjin. No one dared to disrespect Wang Yu. Now that Wang Yu had personally requested for them to take over Finger the Heavens territory, Blood-Red War Flag had no reason to reject him. After learning of Wang Yu's intentions, Blood-Red War Flag said excitedly, Nyogu, I understand what you mean. Wuji interrupted, Did the old cow say anything? That's your Blood Alliance and sword points at the Heavens business. Don't drag us into it. Understood. Blood-Red War Flag smiled evilly. He just needed Wang Yu to nod his head. Did he need anyone to order him to take over Finger the Heavens territory? He could easily come up with 100 excuses, alright? Okay, there's nothing else for you to do. Go back to work. Wuji waved his hand at Blood Red War Flag. Blood Red War Flag excitedly left the tavern. Tisk. Meng, she was very disdainful towards Wang Yu and Wuji's actions. Cunning. All's fair in war, understand? Wuji said shamelessly, this is wisdom. Within Finger the Heavens office, Don't Shoot and Big Bear had interacted with Chuanjin before. They knew that they had all sorts of methods to extort confessions. Naturally, they wouldn't completely believe Meng Shi's words. At this time, they had already gathered their subordinates and were prepared for Chuanjin to declare war. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no movement. This scared Don't Shoot and Big Bear badly. With their understanding of Chuanjin, they might be planning something bad. If everyone took revenge on the spot, Don't Shoot wouldn't be worried. After all, Chuanjin were greedy. As long as Finger the Heavens stretched out its neck and let them slice it twice and then gave them some money, it would be settled. In Don't Shoot's eyes, anything that could be solved with money wasn't a problem. However, Chuanjin didn't react. It was obvious that they wanted to stab them in the back. How could Don't Shoot not be afraid? If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't know what to say, Don't Shoot would have sent a message to Wang Yu to admit his mistake. Just as Don't Shoot and Big Bear didn't know what to do, a system notification rang in their ears. Blood Alliance has declared war on your guild. Finger the Heavens. What would come sooner or later. Hearing the notification, the two of them were like fugitives who had been on the run for many years. Their hearts were filled with joy. However, when they saw the name of the guild that declared war on them, they were stunned. Damn, it wasn't Chuanjin, it was Blood Alliance. Yu Huiqing didn't know how strong Chuanjin was. If he admitted defeat to Chuanjin, everyone would understand. Finger the Heavens and Blood Alliance were competitors. Blood Alliance declaring war on Finger the Heavens was obviously adding insult to injury. Don't Shoot was furious and immediately sent a message to Blood Red War Flag. Damn. Blood Red War Flag, what is the meaning of this? Are you determined to be Chuanjin's dog? Hee. Blood Alliance saw the message and coldly laughed. What does it have to do with Chuanjin? We received news that Finger the Heavens has been very arrogant recently and is trying to harm Blood Alliance. Bullsh *T. Don't Shoot raged. Why don't you say that Chuanjin wants to wipe out Blood Alliance too? Nonsense. Do you think they can't do it? Blood Red War Flag shamelessly said, wash your necks and wait for me to take over your territory. *CKU. Seeing Blood Red War Flag's reply, Don't Shoot was so furious that veins popped out on his forehead. What is going on with Blood Red War Flag? Big Bear saw that the leader was so angry and couldn't help but ask. Don't Shoot said angrily, what else can they do? They just want to fight. Seeing that our West District is developing well, they want to take the fruits of our labor. No wonder these bastards didn't make a move. They were waiting for a chance to make a move. Then what do we do now? Big Bear thought about it and said, I heard that Blood Alliance just took in the Underworld King team and their strength has increased greatly. Moreover, the strength of their players isn't something we can compare to. Indeed, Blood Alliance was an old guild and had a lot of resources. Even if they were a little weak now, as long as their name was still there would be many experts joining them. Chapter 1493. Death's Left Hand and Blood Red War Flag were in the same pot of piss. These two were birds of a feather. They spoke and did things without thinking. In the eyes of the treacherous people of the Chuanjin sect, this kind of behavior was close to that of an idiot. The people of the Chuanjin sect looked at Death's Left Hand in disdain and said, Your backyard is on fire, why aren't you leaving? Death's Left Hand picked up the wine glass and said, This is the first time I've drunk such expensive wine. Finish it before you leave. Come, Wuji cheers. As he spoke, the Grim Reaper's left hand picked up the glass and drained it in one gulp. He then grabbed the glass in front of Concealing Pride and placed it in front of him. He then patted Concealing Pride's head and said earnestly, "Little friend, you shouldn't drink at your age." To place one's pride rolled his eyes in anger. Everyone. F***ck. One is marked by the company one keep. The Grim Reaper's left hand had only known the Quanjun sect for a few days. Other than being brainless, the Grim Reaper's left hand behaved like an old dog of the Quanjun sect. Had his shamelessness been triggered? Wuji ignored Death's left hand, who was drunk, and turned to ask Wang Yu, "Awesome. You caused this. What do you think?" Wang Yu was also having a headache. Wang Yu knew that Blood Red War Flag was a little stupid, but he did not expect them to be this stupid. If he had known this would happen, Wang Yu would have gone to Blood Wind Whisperer directly. At the very least, Blood Wind Whisperer was reliable and would not have messed things up like this. Wang Yu thought about it and said, "I think Blood Alliance should have no problem dealing with Finger in the Sky. I'm just afraid that Finger in the Sky won't play according to plan." "What cards can they have?" Death's left hand said in disdain. Wang Yu said, "They have money." As soon as Wang Yu said this, Death's left hand immediately shut up. Right, money was just that strong. With money, one could do whatever they wanted in game or in real life. Finger in the Sky's players were indeed not good, but there were some hardcore players that the party leader spent a lot of money to hire. Moreover, they had money and could do anything. If they threw a stack of money in your face, wouldn't you be tempted? Pro players were afraid of breaking the contract and wouldn't care about this bit of money. Normal players weren't Blood Alliance's contract workers. The game was a virtual world, and traders only needed benefits and not costs. There were too many players in Blood Alliance. Compared to a small group like Quanjun sect, they were much weaker. In everyone's eyes, they only cared about benefits. Those who cared about guild relations were all idiot. If Wang Yu or Wuji were the leader, they wouldn't even need to do anything. All they had to do was stand on the battlefield and say that whoever joined Finger Sword in the Sky would receive double the treatment. That would definitely crush the morale of Blood Alliance. If Wang Yu or Wuji was the party leader, they wouldn't even need to do anything. They could just stand on the battlefield and say that whoever joined Finger in the Sky would receive double the benefit. That would be enough to crush the morale of Blood Alliance. If Blood Red War Flag wanted to save the situation, they had to raise the benefit. They were on the defensive. The two guilds didn't even need to fight. As long as the two guild leaders bid against each other, it would be enough. When it came to comparing money, who was Finger in the Sky afraid of? Out of sight, out of mind. Facing such a chaotic situation, Wang Yu suggested to clear the daily dungeons. When the Quanjun sect's group finished clearing the dungeon and returned from outside the city, the two big guilds were already fighting fiercely. The streets and alleys were filled with PvP players. City area battles were different from base battles. Base battles were where the side that declared war brought people to attack the base of the other side. It was basically a small city battle. A city war was a battle between the two city zones' management guild. Using the two major zones as a base, they would attack each other until they took down the other party's headquarters, combat office. When gods fought, mortals suffered. Blood Alliance and Finger in the Sky were both big guilds in Yuhuiqing. It was quite terrifying for a large-scale fight to happen between these two guilds. Moreover, it wasn't just the two big guilds that were fighting. The more chaotic the situation, the more people liked to fish in troubled waters. With Blood Alliance and Sword pointing at the heavens fighting, the city was already in a mess. The smaller guilds, who were unhappy with the two big guilds, took this opportunity to stab them in the back, placing their hatred on the two big guilds. There were even some who took advantage of the two big guilds fighting to kill people in the city for equipment. Their actions were so vile that it made people's hair stand on end. All of a sudden, the entire Yuhuiqing was in a mess. Normal players were in danger and hid in the safe zone, not daring to move. Seeing how chaotic the city was, as the instigator of this incident, Wang Yu suddenly felt a little regretful for his actions. It was just finger in the sky. He could have just done it himself. Why did he have to make the world fall into chaos? On the other hand, Chuanjin was really excited. These people just wanted to watch a show and loved this kind of scene. The tavern was also a battlefield, so it wasn't peaceful at all. Chuanjin bought some alcohol and sat on the roof of the church to watch the two guilds fight. Seeing the battle get more and more intense, Wang Yu couldn't help but ask, "Who do you think will win if this goes on?" Wu Ji analyzed. From the looks of it, the Blood Alliance has the absolute advantage. However, the players from Sword in the Heavens are quite stubborn. A bunch of second-rate players relying on the West District's geographical advantage to survive until now is out of my expectations. If nothing goes wrong, it should only be a matter of time before the Blood Alliance wins this battle. Bao San was also surprised. I didn't expect Finger in the Sky's 10,000 people to be able to fight Blood Alliance's 30,000. I thought that Finger in the Sky was just a bunch of weaklings. Wu Ji corrected him. Not 30,000. It's 10,000. More than half of the Blood Alliance members are in Saga City. Oh, no wonder. Everyone understood. At this moment, Wang Yu stood up and said angrily, "No matter who wins, I hope this battle will end before the sky turns dark." "Don't worry," Spring Grace said. "Finger in the Sky is at the end of its rope and can probably last for an hour at most. Let's eat a meal and come back. The West City area belongs to Blood Alliance." That might not be the case. Just as Chun Xiang finished speaking, Wu Ji pointed to the transfer point not far away and said, "Look over there." Everyone heard this and looked towards where Wu Ji was pointing. They saw a white light flash, and within the teleportation point, large amounts of foreign players appeared. Seeing the players within the teleportation point, Chuanjin was stunned. D*MN, is Finger in the Sky crazy? They are actually looking for reinforcements. Chapter 1494. As everyone knew, the players in the game had a very clear concept of territory. No matter how fierce the conflict between guilds of the same main city was, it was still a family matter. They could settle it behind closed doors. If players from other main cities were to get involved, it would be a different matter. Why should outsiders interfere in a fight between family members? Are you the King Old Man next door? This is not called upholding justice, this is called invasion. If they were invaded, they would naturally have to unite against the enemy. Therefore, in Rebirth, there had always been an unwritten rule, and that was not to fight across the city. To move unhindered, unless the guild was as large as moving unhindered, even the most tyrannical guild had to follow this rule. Even if there were too many players from other main cities, it would arouse the resentment of the local natives. When the time came, they would work together to kill you, and you would not be able to do anything. Of course, I'm talking about a large-scale invasion. Chuanjin's 10-man team does not count. Therefore, no matter how fierce the battle between two guilds of the same main city was, they would not seek help from players from other main cities. Otherwise, if they incurred the wrath of the other guilds in the city, they would be the unlucky ones. Finger Heaven's act of spending money to seek outside help was clearly a taboo. So what? Seeing how shocked everyone was, Wu Ji calmly asked. To place one's pride shouted, "What do you think? Finger Heaven is seeking outside help, are you tired of living?" Nonsense. Wu Ji pursed his lips and said, "You said it yourself, the one seeking outside help is Finger Heaven." Hearing Wu Ji's words, everyone from Chuanjin was stunned, and then a look of realization appeared on their faces. To place one's pride was the only one who was still shouting excitedly, "What's wrong with Finger Heaven? Do they have 3 heads and 6 arms to break the rules?" Wang Yu patted to place one's pride's head and explained, Finger Heaven doesn't have 3 heads and 6 arms, but they have money. 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 Hearing Wang Yu's explanation, to place one's pride was instantly speechless, and the words he wanted to say were stuck in his stomach. Money, that's right, money again. Although the game world was illusory, some things were more realistic than the real world. For example, money could solve most problems in the game world. From equipment and skills to gold coin quests, as long as you had money, there would be people who would serve you. Putting everything else aside, the people from the Quanzhen sect were also a group of people who served their own interests. Putting aside the small guilds in Yuhui City that didn't dare to provoke Finger Heaven, even the Quanzhen sect would be bribed by Finger Heaven to stay out of this matter if it wasn't for Wang Yu's provocation, let alone the other guilds. If the money was enough, it wasn't impossible for those small guilds and Sword Point in the heavens to work together with the experts from the other main cities to wipe out Blood Alliance. This was the naked reality. Without benefits, everyone's feelings were pure. Once benefits were involved, what bullsh *t sense of territory? How many pieces of equipment could they buy? Motherf *cur. This is unacceptable. To place one's pride thought about it and said, Sword Point in the heavens colluded with outsiders to attack our players. Uncle Nyo, what are we waiting for? It's time to wipe them out. This isn't appropriate. Wang Yu shook his head. Not appropriate? Why? To place one's pride asked in confusion. Even Sword Point in the heavens found external help. Your brain works quite fast. Wuji smiled, however. You are wrong about one thing. The one who initiated the war was Blood Alliance. So what? To place one's pride was confused. To place one's pride, since Sword Point in the heavens found external help, then they were colluding with outsiders and should be killed. Wuji said calmly, Nothing, but don't forget that old cow is the city lord now. Indeed, if Wang Yu was just a normal player in Yuhuiqing, he wouldn't even need Blood Alliance's help to find trouble with Sword Point in the heavens. After all, Chuanzhen was the synonym for unreasonable. If they used Chuanzhen's name to do bad things, no one would be surprised. But what was Wang Yu's identity now? Yuhuiqing City Lord. Sword Finger in the Heavens was the manager of Afterglow City's Western District. Currently, it was the #1 guild in terms of construction rate and popularity in Afterglow City, and its achievements were enough to shock the city. There was a subtle relationship between the two. Wang Yu was the city lord who was shocked by Sword Point in the heavens. If Wang Yu suspected that Sword Point in the heavens was trying to assassinate him and didn't even have evidence, then he would be killing the donkey when it was no longer needed. Not only would it lower Yu Huiqing's popularity, but it would also cause Yu Huiqing's players to misunderstand him. Compared to Chuanzhen's people, Wang Yu was a more respectable person. Naturally, he wouldn't do such an unreasonable thing. It was the same now. Sword Point in the heavens was attacked first, so it was reasonable for him to spend money to find help. As a friend of Blood Red War Flag and a player of Yuhuiqing, it was reasonable for Wang Yu to help Blood Red War Flag fight Point in the heavens. However, Wang Yu was the city lord. Blood Alliance and Sword Point in the heavens were equal in front of Wang Yu. At this time, Wang Yu could mediate, but if he helped either side, then he would be suspected of being biased and would lose popularity. As the saying goes, if you're not in a position, you don't have to think about politics. Who the hell said that being a city lord was cool? If you didn't have political wisdom, you could only stare blankly. For example, Wang Yu's way of doing things was different from normal people. His political wisdom was basically zero. Facing such a situation, he could only wait for the two sides to finish fighting and then come out to be the peacemaker. Wang Yu didn't have a choice either. He was helpless as well. The only thing he could do now was to wait and see. Blood Alliance's less than 10,000 people were all elites compared to the weak Sword Pointing to the heavens. Due to their advantage in strength, Blood Alliance suppressed Sword Point in the heavens right from the start. Although Sword Point in the Heavens was able to fight back, it was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. However, just as Blood Red War Flag thought that they had won, there was a sudden change in the guild channel. Boss, not good. A large group of unfamiliar experts appeared behind us. They seemed to be reinforcements that Sword Point in the Heavens invited. Reinforcements? After receiving the news, Blood Red War Flag was delighted. He said to Blood Wind Whisper, "Damn, Sword Point in the Heavens is crazy. They actually invited outsiders to deal with us. Hurry and inform the other guild leaders." Is this reliable? Blood Wind Whisper thought about it and felt that something was wrong. He couldn't help but suggest, "Why don't we ask Wuji what to do?" Hearing Blood Wind Whisper's words, Blood Red War Flag was a little unhappy. He said sincerely, "Wind Whisper, it's not that I want to scold you. Our Blood Alliance is also a top guild. Can you not ask for help right from the start?" Chapter 1495. Is that so? Blood Red War Flag was stunned when he heard Wind Whisper's words. Wind Whisper used to be a normal core player in Blood Alliance. His words didn't carry much weight. However, this kid was extremely smart. Blood Alliance had been through many battles and Wind Whisper had been able to predict the outcome. Now, Wind Whisper had become Blood Alliance's #1 strategist. Even the relatively domineering Blood Red War Flag had to ask for Wind Whisper's opinion before doing anything. Now that Wind Whisper had objected, Blood Red War Flag didn't dare to ignore it like before. "Boss, I hope you can reconsider," Wind Whisper said sincerely. "Okay. Let me reconsider." Blood Red War Flag rubbed his chin as he hesitated on whether or not to listen to Wind Whisper. Blood Alliance had fewer members than Finger in the Sky. Now that Finger in the Sky had found reinforcements, if they listened to Wind Whisper and didn't cooperate with the smaller guilds, they would be in a situation where they were surrounded by enemies. As for asking Chuanjin for help, Blood Red War Flag didn't have that intention yet. Blood Alliance had already troubled Chuanjin so many times. Blood Red War Flag didn't want to ask Chuanjin for help. After all, this was the first time Wang Yu had asked Blood Red War Flag to do something for him. Furthermore, the benefits he promised were huge. If he were to ask Chuanjin to clean up after him halfway, that would be too unreliable. No matter how thick Blood Red War Flag's skin was, they wouldn't be able to take it. Moreover, was Chuanjin the kind of person who would help others for free? If he asked Wuji to come up with an idea with this kid's temper, he would probably eat up half of the West District. However, Wind Whisper's words made sense. People of the same trade were enemies. Moreover, this was a competitive environment like the game. Blood Alliance didn't have a good relationship with these smaller guilds. When Blood Alliance ate the meat, these smaller guilds didn't even get to drink the soup. Asking them for help when they were in trouble was definitely unreliable. All of a sudden, Blood Red War Flag was in a dilemma. Just as Blood Red War Flag was in a dilemma, the reinforcements that Sword Point in the Heavens had found had already begun attacking Blood Alliance under Big Bear's command. Sword Point at the Heavens had gathered more than 1,000 reinforcements. It was not a lot compared to the tens of thousands of players that each side had. However, 1,000 players was still a very important bargaining chip in this battle. Furthermore, the reinforcements that Sword Point at the Heavens had found were all experts. In terms of quality, they were no weaker than Blood Alliance's elite. Not long later, Blood Alliance, who originally had the upper hand, was forced into a passive state. The originally chaotic battle situation started to become clear. Facing such a situation, who was the most anxious? Of course not Blood Alliance. This was because Blood Alliance had a trump card. Even if they were at a disadvantage, they could still gather their brothers to fight against Sword Finger in the Heavens. Therefore, the ones who were the most anxious right now were the Yu Huiqing players who wanted to take advantage of the situation. The target of 1,000 players spread out in the Central and Western District. The target was quite obvious. Very quickly, the other guilds in Yuhuiqing noticed the presence of the reinforcements. Instantly, the players in Yuhuiqing were in an uproar. D*MN. We were just taking advantage of the situation, and suddenly a bunch of outsiders came. Did they not respect us locals? Especially Longsong Unmatched's 2012. This fatty had always hated Blood Alliance and Sword Finger in the Heavens. Now that these two guilds were going to fight, 2012 was really happy. This kid brought his underlings to walk the streets with their faces covered, killing everyone they saw. They had already dropped many pieces of equipment. At this moment, the sudden addition of strangers broke the chaotic situation and made 2012 furious. The water in Yuhuiqing was no longer so muddy. The players who were trying to take advantage of the situation all stopped. At this moment, 2012's underlings suggested, "Boss, let's retreat." Retreat? 2012 curled his lips. Why should we retreat? We have to unite and attack Sword Finger in the Heavens. No way, boss. The underling heard this and said weirdly, "What does Blood Alliance's life or death have to do with us? Just run after taking advantage of them. Attacking Sword Finger in the Heavens isn't your style." The atmosphere of a city could be led astray by one person. Ever since Wang Yu became the city lord of Afterglow City, the players of Afterglow City started to follow the example of the Quan Zhen sect. Their behavior was truly wretched. Snatching when there were benefits, taking advantage when there were benefits. Wanting face was useless and reality was more important. This had become the label of Yu Huiqing's players. Longsong Unmatched's group was learning from them too. "What do you know?" 2012 said in disdain. "Can't you see the current situation? Sword Finger in the Heavens is determined to fight to the death with Blood Alliance. If we help Blood Alliance now, Sword Finger in the Heavens will definitely be anxious. What do you think they will do? Take care of us as well?" The underling was confused. "He dares," 2012 said. "He can't even deal with one Blood Alliance, and he wants to become the enemy of the entire city. So, you are saying that they can still spend money to keep the peace?" The underling asked weirdly. "That's right." 2012 laughed sinisterly. "It has nothing to do with us if Blood Alliance or Sword Finger in the Heavens dies, as long as we take advantage of them. If you slap him, he will pay you back. Are you going to slap him?" "Slap. Slap. We have to slap him. Boss, you are really something." Hearing 2012's explanation, the underlings all gave him a thumbs up. Of course, 2012 felt really good after being praised. As the saying goes, the onlooker sees the game more clearly. The two sides that were fighting on the battlefield were the parties involved. Now that they wanted to kill the other side, no one thought about this. Even 2012 could see this point. The players from the other guilds weren't stupid and naturally knew what they had to do to get the most benefits. Moreover, it was in line with the players' views and values of the game. Thus, all the smaller guilds didn't even wait for Blood Alliance to inform them, and they all started to attack Sword Finger in the Heavens. Seeing this, the originally conflicted Blood Red War flag finally let out a sigh of relief and said to Blood Wind Whisper, "Do you see that? This is what the people want, I can't do anything about it." Ugh. Blood Wind Whisper was speechless. "Boss, this is bad." At the same time, in Sword Finger in the Heavens office, Captain Don't Shoot received a message from Big Bear. "Wait for a. Our Yu Huiqing's small guild is starting to group up and attack our reinforcements." Captain Don't Shoot saw the message and said angrily, "Damn! I knew that this bunch of bastards would do something like this. It has nothing to do with them." "Then what do we do now?" Big Bear Wait for a asked. "Nonsense." Captain Don't Shoot waved his hand. "Spend money to settle this." Chapter 1496. After sending the message to Big Bear, Don't Shoot opened his friends list and added all the players from the smaller guilds into a temporary group. When Don't Shoot saw Wuji's ID, he hesitated and added Wuji into the group as well. No matter what, Chuanjin was Yu Huiqing's strongest guild. Even if Don't Shoot knew that Chuanjin and Blood Alliance were on the same side, he didn't dare to ignore Wuji. If not, if all the other guilds said hello and ignored Chuanjin, wouldn't they be opposing Chuanjin? If Chuanjin were to cause trouble because of this, Don't Shoot wouldn't be in the right. With Chuanjin's personality, they would definitely do something like that. As for Don't Shoot adding him into the group, the other bosses of Yu Huiqing weren't surprised. The reason why they attacked Point Sword in the Sky was for this result. Seeing that all the bosses of Yu Huiqing's guilds were here, Don't Shoot cleared his throat and greeted, "Bosses, how have you been?" "Not bad." 2012 was the first to reply and started to cause trouble. "Leader, I don't want to scold you, but you didn't do the right thing. You are fighting with your own brothers, so why did you find outsiders?" The others all agreed, "That's right. Leader, if you don't make those outsiders scram, don't blame us for being impolite." Hayes. Don't Shoot sighed, "You are right, but we have no choice. Blood Alliance is so strong, who in Yu Huiqing dares to offend them?" "That's true." Everyone nodded their heads. Cough cough. At this moment Wuji coughed. The bosses saw that Wuji was there and said, "Of course, Chuanjin is an exception." "That's right." Don't Shoot said, "Point Sword in the Sky isn't Chuanjin. Now that we are being attacked by Blood Alliance, we can't defend at all. We have no choice but to find outsiders to help. Why don't you guys help us?" "Haha. The moon is not bad today." "Yeah, the sun was pretty good last night." Hearing their captain say not to shoot, everyone pretended to be stupid. "What the hell, you two big guilds are fighting, why are you sending us to our deaths?" Captain Don't Shoot. He knew that these bastards wouldn't dare to help, so he said, "So I also hope that everyone can treat this matter fairly and not interfere." Hearing the captain say not to shoot, everyone knew that he was going to give them money. Sword Point at the Heavens was, after all, a big guild in Yu Huiqing that was second only to the Blood Alliance. So, at this time, everyone just waited to take the money and leave. No one dared to openly refute the captain's words. After all, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Even if they couldn't beat Blood Alliance, they could wipe out a small guild like them in a matter of minutes. Only Wuji said unhappily, "You make it sound like we're holding hands. What are you talking about?" Seeing that the one refuting him was Wuji, Captain Don't Shoot hurriedly said, "Our Sword Point at the Heavens just needs a chance to compete fairly. I hope that boss Wuji won't let Chuanjin's bosses interfere." "Don't worry," Wuji said, "everyone knows how Chuanjin is like. We only speak for justice." Damn. This dog really dares to say that. Everyone heard this and cursed in their hearts. Then, Wuji said, "If others don't offend Chuanjin, then Chuanjin definitely won't offend others. If someone dares to offend Chuanjin, then don't blame us for not holding back." That's true. Captain Don't Shoot nodded his head. Chuanjin's big names are well known in Yu Huiqing. I don't think anyone would be stupid enough to offend you. That's good. Wuji was satisfied. "Send me the funds." After saying that, Wuji left the group. Hearing Wuji's words, there was a wave of awkwardness in the group. Although they all knew that they had entered the group to claim the maintenance funds, when this matter was brought up by others, it felt as if their greedy intentions had been seen through. Fortunately, Captain Don't Shoot broke the awkwardness in time. Boss Wuji is right. This time, Sword Point at the Heavens was the one who invited the players from outside the city. They have caused quite a bit of trouble for everyone. We hope that everyone can stand by and watch. If there are any guilds that want to speak up for justice and help Sword Point at the Heavens, they can also receive the corresponding funds. It had to be said that having money in one's pocket made one's back strong. Captain Don't Shoot's meaning was obvious. As long as you don't interfere, I'll pay. If you want to help, I'll still pay. Money was definitely a good thing. Didn't everyone play guilds for money? Hearing that Sword Point at the Heavens wanted to hire people at this time, the guild leaders were instantly excited. With 2012 as the leader, Shameless said, "Captain, what are you saying? It is our Yu Huicheng's tradition to speak up for justice. Blood Alliance is going against the law and doing whatever they want. As long as you don't think that our guild is small, we are willing to help. Thank you for your understanding and support." Captain Don't Shoot saw that all the bosses were dealt with so easily, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Blood Alliance is in danger this time. On the roof of the church, Wuji, who had left the chat, couldn't help but sigh. "Oh? What do you mean?" everyone from Chuanjin asked. Wuji said, "As we expected, Captain Don't Shoot became the wealth boy again. Blood Alliance should be alone this time." "No way." Mingdu touched his chin. "Doesn't Blood Alliance have 20,000 backup troops?" Wuji laughed coldly. "Do you think that Captain Don't Shoot became the wealth boy so that Yu Huicheng's guild wouldn't do anything? The other guilds have probably already boarded Sword Point at the Heavens pirate ship." See. Hearing Wuji's words, everyone from Chuanjin couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. Okay, Captain Don't Shoot. This kid looked dumb, but who would have thought that he would be so vicious to do such a thing to Blood Alliance? No matter how many Blood Alliance players there were, they were only 30,000. Sword Point at the Heavens' current troops could suppress half of them. If players from other guilds were to work with Sword Point at the Heavens, then it would be a war of lives. 30,000 people sounded amazing, but in front of hundreds of thousands of Yu Huicheng's players, it was nothing. At that time, Blood Alliance would probably be uprooted by Sword Point at the Heavens. No. After knowing Captain Don't Shoot's intentions, Wang Yu was shocked at how vicious Captain Don't Shoot was. He stood up and said, "It seems like this won't end so easily. I have to step out." Chapter 1497. As a person who practiced martial arts, Wang Yu had a strong sense of responsibility. Regardless of how the Blood Alliance usually behaved, the blood-red war flag could still be considered a friend of the Quanjin sect. Moreover, this matter had arisen because of Wang Yu. With Wang Yu's personality, he would definitely not stand idly by if he knew that the Blood Alliance had been uprooted. Even if he couldn't openly help Blood Alliance wipe out Sword in the Sky, as a city lord, he had the right to mediate between the two guilds. As for whether or not he would give Wang Yu face, that would depend on whether the captain didn't shoot. "Don't panic." Seeing that Wang Yu was panicking, Wuji said calmly, "I have my own plans. I won't let anything happen to Blood Alliance." "What plans?" Wang Yu was confused. Wuji said, wait for Blood Alliance to find us when they can't hold on anymore." Wang Yu. The influence of outside reinforcements was huge. At the start, other guilds worked together with Blood Alliance to fight against the foreign players. Sword in the Sky only had a small advantage at the start. After becoming the target of everyone, the arrival of outside reinforcements not only didn't help Sword in the Sky break the stalemate, but instead made it harder and easier for Blood Alliance. However, just as the captain released the funds, the situation took a turn for the worse. The players who were originally targeting Sword in the Sky turned around and attacked Blood Alliance, catching them off guard. Blood Alliance had fewer players than Sword in the Sky. Now, not only did Sword in the Sky hire outside reinforcements, but they also bought over other guilds. How could Blood Alliance defend against them? In just a few moves, Blood Alliance was beaten to a pulp by the Allied army. "Not good, boss, we can't hold on anymore." All of a sudden, Blood Red War Flag's message was exploding. All the messages were the same. They couldn't hold on anymore. D*MN, what is going on? Blood Red War Flag was dumbfounded when he saw that the tides of the battle had been turned by Finger Heaven. He had no idea why the players of Afterglow City, who were originally targeting Finger Heaven, had suddenly turned to their side. What else could have happened? Bloody Wind Whisperer said angrily, "That bunch of unreliable bastards. They must have been bribed by Finger Sky Sword. Motherf asterisk her, this bunch of trash. Hearing Blood Wind Whisper's words, Blood Red War Flag threw the weapon in its hand and said angrily, "These be asterisk stards. How dare they throw stones at me when I'm down? Are they tired of living? Send down my orders, gather all the troops of Blood Alliance. Since they want to play, then I will play with them." Boss, calm down. Blood Red War Flag was usually fine. He was Yu Huicheng's, but when he was hot-headed, he thought that Yu Huicheng was his. This was a pain in the ass for Blood Red War Flag. Blood Wind Whisperer advised, "That is our last bargaining chip. Since these small guilds dare to offend us, they must be prepared for the worst. If we take out our trump card, it will definitely ignite their fighting spirit. At that time, our Blood Alliance will be destroyed by them. Then what should we do now?" Blood Red War Flag was sweating profusely. If they didn't call for help, they would die. Blood Red War Flag really wanted to go all out. "Who do you think can handle this situation?" Blood Wind Whisperer asked. When Blood Wind Whisperer asked this, a burly figure of a Grandmaster of Combat appeared in Blood Red War Flag's mind. "No, where can I hide my face?" Blood Red War Flag shook its head. "How much is face worth?" Blood Wind Whisperer said helplessly. "Look at how many people in our Yu Huicheng still care about face? Don't you know whether it's face or Yu Huicheng?" Blood Red War Flag was conflicted. If others didn't care about face, that was their business. He was the leader of a big guild. His face was much more valuable than those shameless people. "If you can't put your face down, then I'll go," Blood Wind Whisperer said subconsciously when it saw Blood Red War Flag conflicted. Who knew that Blood Red War Flag would shamelessly say, "That's great. It's decided then." F***CK. Blood Wind Whisperer cried. Why did he have to be so shameless? He must have been scammed. It wasn't that Blood Red War Flag didn't want to ask for help from Chuanjin. He was just waiting for someone to ask for help. This old B** starred. It couldn't be helped. It was his duty to be shameless on behalf of the leader. Since he was scammed by Blood Red War Flag, Blood Wind Whisperer could only accept his fate. He opened his friend list with Wuji. "Boss Wuji, help! I'll reward you handsomely." Seeing Blood Wind Whisperer's message, Wuji replied casually, "Lure them to the tavern." "Tavern?" Blood Wind Whisperer said gloomily. "Boss, you don't know how many people there are. Our Blood Alliance players are being ganged up on as soon as they show up. There's no way we can make it to the tavern alive." Wuji replied again, "Are you guys feeding these idiots from Netherworld for nothing?" Netherworld, hearing Wuji's words, Blood Wind Whisperer's eyes lit up. The main force dealing with Blood Alliance was Yu Huicheng's players. The reason why the Blood Alliance players were ganged up on as soon as they showed up was because they were all familiar faces in Yu Huicheng. Everyone would see each other all the time. Even if they didn't know each other, they would still be familiar with each other. The people from the Netherworld King Realm were different. They were outsiders, and they were also famous people. No one knew that they had joined the Blood Alliance, so no one would provoke them. After all, everyone was following Finger Heavenly Sword to make a living. If it didn't threaten their survival, they wouldn't risk their lives. Moreover, with the strength of the Netherworld players, normal people wouldn't be able to catch them. Thinking of this, Blood Wind Whisperer had Blood Red War Flag send a message to Death God's left hand. Logically speaking, Grim Reaper's left hand was a professional player, and he couldn't be ordered around by Blood Red War Flag. However, Blood Red War Flag was still the boss on the surface. Moreover, Grim Reaper's left hand also knew that Quan Zhen's sect was involved in this, so when he received the quest to use Blood Red War Flag as bait, he immediately agreed. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, you'll know if there's one or not. Death God's Left Hand's group could be considered top players in the pro circle. Dealing with normal players was a piece of cake. The group carved out a bloody path, fighting as they retreated. They brought Finger Heaven's Left Hand's group all the way to the tavern. When they arrived at the tavern, Chuanjin's group had been waiting for a long time. Seeing Death God's Left Hand's group enter the tavern, Wang Yu waved his hand and had the owner set up a table. He signaled for Death God's Left Hand's group to sit down. Just as the Netherworld players sat down, Finger Heaven's Left Hand's group entered the tavern. D*MN, we chased you all the way here and you're drinking here? Everyone. Chapter 1498. Woo woo woo. That player struggled to remove the hand that covered his mouth, and glared at the player behind him. Why did you cover my mouth? Idiot. The player behind him rolled his eyes at that person and hurriedly walked forward and said respectfully, Bosses of the Quanjin sect, are you drinking? Chuanjin. As soon as he said this, the pursuers in the tavern were all stunned. In Yuhuiqing, there were very few people who had not heard of Chuanjin. Chuanjin's style was deeply rooted in people's hearts. Moreover, before they came here, their captain had repeatedly warned them not to shoot. They could do anything in Yuhui City, but if they encountered someone from the Quanjin sect, they must not fight back. And, do you need something? Wang Yu raised his eyebrows and asked. We. The leading player was obviously a newbie. When he heard Wang Yu's words, he was about to say that he was here to kill Blood Alliance players. Luckily, someone saved him. No problem. Everyone eat and drink well. We will leave first. As he said this, everyone ran out of the tavern like they were escaping. Ayaya. Seeing the pursuers he had worked so hard to attract, seeing Chuanjin run out of the tavern without even daring to fart, Grim Reaper's left hand shook his head and sighed. Look at you all. You scared the Yu Huiqing players so much that they didn't dare to chase after you after hearing your name. The Chuanjin people didn't say anything. Their eyes all fell on Grim Reaper's left hand and the others. Grim Reaper's left hand had goosebumps from being stared at by the Chuanjin people. Why are you all looking at me? Everyone scolded at the same time. You still dare to drink our wine? Hurry up and lure more. The Netherworld people shivered from the scolding. They hurriedly got up and left the tavern again. 5 minutes later, they brought back another group of people. This time, the leading player was an old fox. Seeing the Chuanjin people at the table, he didn't say anything and immediately led his people out of the tavern. A newbie player didn't understand. Boss, why aren't you chasing anymore? Let's go kill others. Isn't there a ready-made one? Young man, don't be ignorant. In the future, when you see those faces drinking in the tavern, you better King hide far away. Do you hear me? Even if they beat you, you have to endure it. CK. Can you do it? Grim Reaper's left hand was depressed when he saw his pursuers run away again. For better or worse, the people from the Netherworld King realm were all professional masters. Even though they were working for others, they still had their own dignity. If they were sent to kill people, no one would say anything about it. But if they were sent to act as bait and the fish didn't take the bait, who could stand it? Who the CK cares about you? Wuji rolled his eyes at Grim Reaper's left hand and said, Go lure them again, lure them until they dare to make a move. CK. The people from the Netherworld King realm cursed as they left the tavern. The people from Chuanjin had obviously underestimated how wary their captain was of them when he told them not to shoot. Ever since the foreign reinforcements entered the city, their captain had specifically instructed them not to shoot if they encountered players with the yin-yang fish on their chests. Even if the blood-red war flag was there, they were not to take half a step forward. Chuanjin was still very famous now. The yin-yang fish on their chests had become their symbol. Therefore, when this symbol was mentioned, everyone knew that it was referring to Chuanjin. Everyone was doing things for money. Killing a small soldier was also money. Killing an expert was also money. As long as they weren't stupid, they naturally wouldn't take the initiative to provoke the people from Chuanjin. Therefore, no matter how Grim Reaper's left hand and his group tried to flirt and provoke them, the allied forces of many guilds turned around and left without saying a word when they saw the people from Chuanjin in the tavern. This made Wuji very depressed. He blamed everyone and said, "It's all your fault. Your usual bad behavior has left a bad impression on the players from Yuhuiqing." "That's right." Wang Yu also agreed. "Now people are avoiding us when they see us. It's all your fault for tarnishing the reputation of Chuanjin. F*CKU. The people from Chuanjin were furious. Damn it. The reason why Chuanjin ended up like this was because of you two pieces of trash. One of you slaughtered other guilds and the other destroyed other guilds. In terms of evil, all of the people from Chuanjin added together couldn't compare to these two beasts." Boom. Just as the people from Chuanjin were blaming each other, Grim Reaper's left hand and his group rushed into the tavern again. They sat down at the table and said, F*CK. Tell Blood Red War Flag that if the people from Finger the Heavens run again, we won't do it anymore. As Grim Reaper's left hand spoke, a group of players followed closely behind into the tavern. The person in the lead was as wide as two people and had an extremely strong body. After seeing the people from Chuanjin, he was slightly stunned. He then cupped his fists and said, "Aya, brother Iron Ox boss Wuji. You are." Seeing that strong man, Wang Yu also felt that he looked familiar. The name was at the tip of his tongue, but he couldn't say it. The strong man quickly said, "War is peace." Yes, 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 yes. The boss of the Raptor team. Hearing this name, Wang Yu immediately remembered. These people were a group of experts. He had met them a few times in Ares City. Why? Are these experts also with Finger the Heavens? Wang Yu asked curiously. Haha. War is Peace laughed and said, "We are a mercenary group after all. Brothers also have to make a living." These few, speaking up to this point, War is Peace looked at Grim Reaper's left hand and said, "These few are your friends." "That's right." Wang Yu nodded. "Oh." War is Peace said, "It seems like Finger the Heavens is against you guys. Forget it, we don't need this bit of money. Brothers, leave the team." War is Peace's reputation in the mercenary world was very high. Look at his attitude, casually asking his subordinates to leave Finger the Heavens team. Don't be in such a hurry to leave." Seeing this, Wuji quickly stopped them and said, "Since you guys are here, I have a favor to ask of you." "Boss Wuji, what can I do for you?" War is Peace asked. Don't mention it." Wuji sighed and said, "These bastards don't listen to my commands and even scolded me together just now. Can you help me teach them a lesson?" After saying that, Wuji turned around and asked the Chuanjin people, "Who scolded me the most just now? Step forward." The Chuanjin people looked at each other, stood up, and retreated. At this moment, Wuji pointed at To Place One's Pride and said, "It's you, you little brat. Come here and let Boss War beat you up." "Why? Why is it me?" To Place One's Pride gloomily looked to both sides. Then, his face turned green. "Damn it, everyone took 2 steps back just now. Only I took 1 step back. These shameless old cheese." Chapter 1499. This isn't good. To Place One's Pride looked at the reluctant War is Peace and said in embarrassment, "What's not good about it?" Wuji curled his lips and said, "This brat needs to be taught a lesson. As parents, we can't do anything about it. We can only let others beat him up." F*CK your mother. To Place One's Pride gave Wuji the middle finger. "I'm your father." War is Peace's cold sweat flowed down his face. He suddenly felt that it would have been better if he had just run away. It was a wrong choice to strike up a conversation with Wang Yu. Did you see that? This brat is scolding people the moment he opens his mouth. Is he asking for a beating? Just beat him up. He has to thank you. Wuji said to War is Peace. But War is Peace was still a little embarrassed. Cut the crap. To place one's pride said angrily, just beat him up when he asks you to. So what if you've never beaten someone up before? Hey, this child. Upon hearing to place one's pride's words, War is Peace became excited. Who are you yelling at? I don't know anything else. Do you still need to teach me how to beat people? Therefore, War is Peace did not say anything else. He slapped to place one's pride's head. Alright. Thank you. To place one's pride jumped up and shouted loudly after being slapped by War is Peace. All of you saw it. It was Finger Sky's people who hit me first. This, to place one's pride's shout left everyone in the tavern dumbfounded. What the F***ck? War is Peace's group finally reacted. Why did this kid ask them to beat him up? His emotions were waiting. At that moment, everyone from Chuanjin slammed the table and stood up. They shouted angrily, Finger Sky's bunch of B***stards. They're bullying us. Boss, what should we do now? Following which, everyone turned to look at Wuji. Old cow, what do you think? Wuji asked Wang Yu for his opinion. Is there even a need to ask? Wang Yu said happily, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll pull them up by the roots. Didn't we agree not to be too arrogant? Pointing sword to the heavens actually dared to hit our Chuanjin people in public? They're in big trouble this time. After saying that, Wang Yu opened the Castellan's announcement channel. Due to the current chaotic battle in the city, all unrelated people in Yuhuiqing are to temporarily leave. Otherwise, bear the consequences. The announcement was made in the main city mode. In an instant, Wang Yu's announcement reached everyone's ears. At this moment, the two guilds were locked in a fierce battle on the street. The other players could not wait to hide. Aside from those who planned to fish in troubled waters and pick up equipment, everyone else either went out of the city to raid dungeons or hid in various shops to watch the commotion. No one wanted to die. Now that Wang Yu gave the order, those players who wanted to fish in troubled waters quickly found a place to hide. At the same time, Wuji sent a message to Blood Red War Flag. Tell your people to hide first. They'll come out later. Although Blood Red War Flag did not know what Wuji was planning, since Wuji said so, Blood Red War Flag had no choice but to do as he said. With the order, the Blood Alliance players all hid at the revival point. Although Pointing Sword to the Heavens allied army saw the announcement, seeing that the Blood Alliance players had retreated, they naturally wouldn't stop. Thus, they pushed their way from the West District to the Central District. Pointing Sword to the Heavens had over 10,000 people. Along with Yuhuiqing's other guild players, there were over 100,000 of them. That was quite a large scale. In a fight between city managers, the only way to win was to take down the command point. The Central District office was right next to the Castellan's residence. Leader Don't Shoot was the first time he was commanding so many people. He was extremely excited and shouted in the channel, "Pass down my order. The person who enters the Central District command point first will be rewarded with 100,000 gold." 100,000 gold wasn't a small amount. If converted to RMB, it was a whole million. With such a huge reward, there would definitely be brave people. Seeing the reward that Leader Don't Shoot promised, all the players were shocked. Like a flood, they surged towards the central street where the command point was. Over 100,000 people squeezed into one city district. It could only be described as shoulder to shoulder. This was especially so for the central street. There were so many people that it made everyone's head hurt. That's right, because there were too many people in this district, the server was lagging. With so many people squeezed together, it was hard to even turn around, let alone find the command point. However, the temptation of 100,000 gold was too great. No one took a step back. All of a sudden, everyone was squeezed together, unable to advance or retreat. Don't even think about leaving. At that moment, a roar came from midair. The voice was like a clap of thunder in the ears of all the players. Everyone hurriedly looked towards the source of the voice. They saw a densely packed group of people on the roofs of the central street. These people were either knocking arrows or chanting spells. They surrounded the entire street tightly. Immediately, everyone on Finger the Sky's side was stunned. "Everyone, are you busy?" While Finger the Sky's players were shocked, a cleric suddenly walked to the edge of the roofs with a smile on his face. He squatted down and asked in a condescending manner, "Wuji?" At this moment, the majority of the people on the street were Yu Huiqing's local players. When they saw the cleric's appearance, they could not help but cry out. Then, when they saw Wang Yu standing beside Wuji, everyone felt a chill in their hearts, and thoughts of retreating appeared in their minds. "Damn it! Didn't we say not to provoke Chuanjin?" At this moment, Leader Don't Shoot, who was far away in the western district, also received news of the situation. He hurriedly sent a private message. "Boss Iron Ox, what's going on? Is Chuanjin going to be biased?" At the same time, Leader Don't Shoot also sent a message to question Wuji. "Boss Wuji, you received funds to maintain stability." Humph. Seeing Leader Don't Shoot's two messages, Wuji laughed coldly. He already knew that Leader Don't Shoot would say this. Wuji had already prepared a set of words. Soon, Leader Don't Shoot received a message from Wuji. Castellan Iron Ox said that as a city lord, he will never be biased towards any guild. Right now, he only wants to stand on the side of Chuanjin and discuss matters with you. "Chuanjin? That's right," Wuji said. "Someone from Finger the Sky attacked our Chuanjins to place one's pride in a tavern. What a cute kid, but he was beaten up while drinking and singing. Is there still any law?" Then, Wuji added, "We, Chuanjin, never start a war, but we are never afraid of war. If anyone dares to attack Chuanjin, we will fight them to the end." "Good. Good. Good." Hearing Wuji's words, Leader Don't Shoot said, "Good" thrice and replied fiercely, "Fine, you have guts." In this world, there were no truly stupid people. Let alone Don't Shoot, who was a smart person. Even if Leader Don't Shoot was stupid, he would have understood what Chuanjin was singing at this moment. After all, dying 100 times in the game would only result in the loss of virtual items, but the reward would be real money. In the game, there was no legend that could stand tall forever, especially in the virtual world of online games. If they didn't show up for a month, they would be forgotten. No matter how strong Wang Yu was, to the players of Yu Huiqing, it was something that happened a long time ago. As for the foreign players from other main cities, they had only heard of how strong Wang Yu was. Who would take it seriously? Normally, everyone might go with the flow. If you said he was strong, then they would take it as he was strong. But now, with benefits in front of them, Wang Yu's group on the roof was no longer the terrifying Chuanjin, but a pile of real money. Of course, compared to the excited players, the bosses of the major guilds were still relatively calm. After all, 1 million wasn't too tempting to them. It really wasn't worth it to risk their lives against Chuanjin for such a small amount of money. After thinking about it, the bosses of the major guilds were just about to withdraw from this operation with their subordinates when they were suddenly pulled into the chat group by Captain Don Shoot. Then, Captain Don Shoot said, "Bosses, it's time for us to unite. Captain, what you're doing isn't right." Before Captain Don Shoot could finish, 2012 said angrily, "We're helping you out of goodwill, and you're sending us to our deaths? Wasn't that right?" 2012 was the first person to witness Wang Yu's strength. Back then, Wang Yu chased after Blood Red War Flag's brother in Yu Huiqing and slaughtered 2 streets. He forced Blood Red War Flag to compensate them and then retreated alone. To move unhindered tens of thousands of players, it was like it had just happened yesterday. It could be said that in Yu Huiqing, besides Blood Red War Flag, no one understood Wang Yu's strength better than 2012. Now, Captain Don Shoot wanted everyone to fight against Chuanjin. What was his intention? Facing 2012's questioning, Captain Don Shoot said calmly, "I'm not sending you to your deaths, I'm giving you a chance to live." "Oh? What do you mean?" the bosses all asked. "Scoff." Captain Don Shoot scoffed coldly, "We are all in the same boat. You all had a part in attacking Blood Alliance, right?" "So what?" 2012 asked back. Captain Don Shoot said, "Chuanjin is helping Blood Alliance this time. Their intention is to take back the new city that we just built. If it wasn't for you, Blood Alliance would have taken over the West City already. You say it has nothing to do with you? If Sword in the Heavens is gone, do you think you can still live?" This 2012 and the others were stunned when they heard this. That's right, apart from Chuanjin, the other guilds in Yuhuiqing were split into 3 factions. Blood Alliance and Sword in the Heavens were their own factions. Although the other smaller guilds had conflicts with one another, for survival, they had to work together at crucial times. These 3 factions restricted one another and balanced one another. If it was really as Captain Don Shoot said, Blood Alliance would have no more power to restrict Blood Alliance after they wiped out Sword in the Heavens. Blood Alliance's next goal would definitely be to swallow up the other guild. Even if no one participated in this matter, Blood Alliance would find other reasons. For example, they didn't use any reason to attack Sword in the Heavens. Seeing that no one spoke, Captain Don Shoot knew that his words had an effect, so he said, "I know that everyone is afraid of Chuanjin, but think about it. Isn't he the leader of a guild with thousands of people? If we really fight head-on, there is no reason for us to be afraid of a small guild. Moreover, we have hundreds of thousands of people. Don't you all have the courage to fight them? Are you all willing to be ruled by them forever?" Captain is right. Actually, Chuanjin is just like that. If we have hundreds of thousands of people, and we are afraid of a few people, then we will be laughed at. After being tricked by Captain Don Shoot, everyone's fear of Chuanjin started to dissipate. However, 2012 wasn't so easily tricked. He asked sharply, "If we really overthrow Chuanjin, what benefits will we get?" Chapter 1501. Benefits. Captain Don't Shoot smiled. At the end of the day, whether or not these guilds did this, it was all for benefits. Captain Don't Shoot couldn't give anything else but benefit. "As long as you can take down Chuanjin, I will reward you greatly. Don't worry, I don't lack money. Moreover, if I become the city lord, I won't take any of you Huiqing's management areas. I will give them all to you." This. Hearing the captain say not to shoot, everyone in the room beamed with joy. These days, no one helped for free. No matter where, money and power were always the top topics of discussion. Captain Don't Shoot was obviously well versed in this. He first promised them large amounts of money and then promised them management right. This was a two-pronged approach. No matter which one you liked, or even both, Captain Don't Shoot could give them to you. Such generous conditions directly hit the bottom line of everyone present. With such temptation, let alone going against Chuanjin, even if they were asked to go against the main city guards, they wouldn't hesitate. One had to say, angering a rich person was much scarier than angering a bunch of experts. Leader, don't shoot. I've already been bullied by Wuji. First, I'll throw money to calm the players, then I'll throw money to calm the bosses. No matter how strong his opponent was, he only had one skill, and that was throwing money. He didn't believe that he couldn't smash them to death. At the same time, on the central street, after receiving Big Bear wait for me's message, all the players changed their target from Blood Alliance to Chuanjin. They couldn't find Blood Alliance's command center in such a short amount of time. Chuanjin and the others were all standing on the rooftop. They were walking treasuries. Thus, all the players in the central street had the same goal, which was to attack Chuanjin's people. Thus, a sky full of magic arrows were thrown at the rooftops at the same time. Although there were many players on Finger Heaven's side, the size of the map was limited. The entire central street was packed, but there were only tens of thousands of people. These people came from different guilds and different main cities. They were basically unorganized and undisciplined. On the roofs, the Blood Alliance players were led by Chuanjin's group. They advanced and retreated in an orderly fashion. Adding on the fact that they had the terrain advantage, according to the original plan, they should be able to suppress the players on the roofs. Unexpectedly, the players below didn't know what was wrong with them, and all of them simultaneously attacked a target on the square. The Blood Alliance players were caught off guard. After all, they were outnumbered by several times. Even if they had the advantage of terrain, they wouldn't be able to defend against an enemy that was several times their number. The people of the Chuanjin sect were all experts at escaping, so when they saw that the situation was not good, they immediately turned tail and ran. The pitiful Blood Alliance players were instantly covered by magic arrows. Boom! After a series of attacks, a huge gap appeared in Blood Alliance's encirclement. However, the people from Chuanjin were still jumping around on the roof. They looked at the players below in surprise and asked, F***CK, what's going on with Wuji? Is there an expert among them? One had to know that even a professional commander would find it difficult to command tens of thousands of people, much less a bunch of otakus in the game. Now that the tens of thousands of players had such a clear target, it was obvious that someone was giving them instructions. How would I know? Wuji was also confused. Everyone retreat to the 9 o'clock direction. That is a blind spot, so they definitely won't attack there. As he said that, the people of Chuanjin quickly ran in the direction that Wuji pointed. Huh! Seeing that the people from Chuanjin didn't die, the players below were also stunned. F***CK, as expected, they are as strong as the legends say, they can even dodge that. In shock, everyone once again targeted Chuanjin on the roofs. Then, another wave of attacks covered the sky. F***CK. Seeing the players' attacks follow them like a shadow, the people of Chuanjin shouted, Second brother, raise your shield. When Yin Lao Air heard this, he raised his shield. Wuji raised his hand and gave Yin Lao Air an invincibility. Bang 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 bang! After a series of violent sounds, all the attacks were blocked by Yin Lao Air. Mingdu said anxiously, F***CK. Wuji, your trick has been seen through, right? Impossible, Wuji said confidently. How can anyone see through my trick? Everyone, retreat to the trading street. After receiving Wuji's order, the people of Chuanjin quickly took a few steps back, turned around, and ran in the other direction. The trading street was actually the street in front of the city lord's residence. It was only one house away from the central street and also belonged to the central area. Right now, the central area was already filled with people from Sword in the Sky. There was no place to stay, and the streets and alleys were full of people. As soon as the people of Chuanjin showed their heads, they were once again targeted by the players on the street. The overwhelming attacks once again smashed towards the group of people from the Quanzhen sect. This time, the people of Chuanjin were completely dumbfounded. After all, they had known Wuji for a long time, and they were very clear about Wuji's abilities. After playing the game for so long, it had always been Wuji who schemed against others, and he never missed a step. What was going on today? Why did the opponent seem to see through Wuji's thoughts and accurately attack the safest spot that Wuji had indicated every time? Everyone looked at Wuji with doubtful eyes. Wuji, can you do it? Why are you being schemed against every step? T. Wuji was a little anxious when he heard that. He said anxiously, There must be something strange, but I just can't think of what it is. At this time, Wang Yu thought for a while and said, I think so. I don't think their calculations are right. Then, can you explain why they are able to land their attacks on us every time? Everyone asked in confusion. Because they are targeting us. Of course, their target is us. Wang Yu thought about it and said, "Targeting us?" When they heard Wang Yu's words, everyone was stunned. However, thinking about the targets of the players below, it really was the case. If they were targeting Blood Alliance, the attack range should be huge, but the players' attack range was very small, and it just so happened to be where Chuanjin's group was standing. Thinking about that, Chuanjin couldn't help but be furious. What does it have to do with us? Isn't their target Blood Alliance? Since Chuanjin came to Yu Huiqing had always been Chuanjin's world. Chuanjin had been comfortable in Yu Huiqing for so long that they seemed to have an illusion that even Yu Huiqing's guild wouldn't dare to do anything to a small guild like Chuanjin. At this moment, when sword pointing to the sky suddenly appeared, not only the others, but even Wuji couldn't react. Chapter 1502. Obviously, Captain don't shoot because he wants to be the Castellan. Wang Yu muttered. It seemed that Wang Yu was really angered by Captain don't shoot. Such a kind-hearted guy was still holding a grudge over this matter. Be a Castellan? Everyone couldn't help but pout. Is he even worthy? How could anyone be a Castellan just because they wanted to? Which Castellan in the game wasn't an existence that dominated an area? In Yu Huiqing, there were a few affiliated main cities that were far away from the Emperor. Just Yu Huiqing alone couldn't be suppressed with Captain Don't Shoot's prestige. However, what Wang Yu said made sense. Since the beginning, Yu Huiqing hadn't stopped fighting. In order to make a name for himself, he attacked Chuanjin. In order to seize the management rights, he went against Chuanjin. Now that Captain Don't Shoot suddenly targeted Chuanjin to become a Castellan, it was reasonable. Wuji thought for a moment and said, regardless of whether he's worthy or not, based on the current situation, it's obviously very disadvantageous to us. In the past, Chuanjin could intimidate Yu Huiqing's players, mostly because Chuanjin's players were wretched and cunning, and they were strong. Yu Huiqing's guild fought for themselves, and they couldn't do anything to Chuanjin if they couldn't unite. Now, because of the influence of money, everyone only had one goal, and that was to Chuanjin. Driven by benefits, the players were unprecedentedly united. Facing such a situation, even if Chuanjin had a super expert like Wang Yu, it was tantamount to a mantis trying to stop a car. There was strength in numbers. This was not just a saying. What do we do now? Mingdu frowned and said, Captain, don't shoot. He doesn't have the life to be a Castellan. If he becomes a Castellan, I won't agree. So what if you don't agree? Everyone said in disdain, are you going to point your sword at the sky and slaughter them all by yourself? Hey, you guys don't put me in your eyes. Wang Yu's face was full of black lines. You want to kill me with just these people? That's true. Everyone nodded. This was the main reason why the captain could not become the city lord. Wang Yu's strength was so high that even he did not know what the upper limit of his strength was. Normally, he would not be afraid of a few hundred people, and he would still dare to charge in if there were a few thousand people. If there were tens of thousands of people, even if he could not defeat them, he could still retreat unscathed. Even if there are hundreds of thousands of players surrounding us, we can still go offline, right? When he went offline, he would bring his wife to the Maldives for a vacation. If the captain didn't open fire, he would probably be exhausted to death. Speaking of logging out, Wuji's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, we should leave this place now. Open it? Wuji, are you crazy? Could it be that you know that you're being schemed against, so you're so scared that you can't even speak? Hearing Wuji's idea, everyone expressed that Wuji was scared out of his wits. Scram. Wuji smiled and said, This is called a feint. What do you mean? Everyone was puzzled. Wuji said spiritedly, The momentum of the first drum will weaken, and the third will be exhausted. Right now, sword points to the sky is gaining momentum. No one can withstand his punch. Let's just ignore him and wait for his momentum to dissipate before coming back. Isn't that enough? Easy for you to say. Chun Xiang thought for a while and said, to be able to gather so many people's momentum, there are only two ways. One is personal charm and the other is the charm of money. Do you think that Captain, don't open fire, that B***starred has this kind of personal charm? Does this have anything to do with what Wuji said? Wang Yu was puzzled. Yes. Wuji said, Captain, don't open fire. To be able to unite so many people, it must be the power of money. As long as you have money, you can create as many momentum as you want. That's right. Chun Xiang said, so what's the point of us leaving? When we come back and they have money, won't we be the target of everyone? It's not the same. Wuji said, do you know what their momentum is coming from? Money? To place one's pride interrupted. That's right. Wuji said, money is actually just a subjective reason. The objective reason is the illusion of unity created by money. What we need to do now is to break this illusion. Break? How do we break it? Everyone revealed a puzzled expression. Wuji chuckled and said, the cooperation created by money is only brothers on the surface. As long as we let them split the loot slightly, these people's true colors will be revealed. When that time comes, we don't even need to do anything. Their alliance will collapse on its own. Split the loot? Wang Yu frowned. You are talking about that trash who wants me to give the city to Captain and not open fire. Ha ha! Wuji laughed. We are just fishing, there is no need to use such a big bait. Just let Blood Alliance suffer a loss. Send him a message and tell him to surrender. Everyone. After saying so much in the end, Wuji still wanted to sell Blood Alliance. Okay. Then you go and do this. I can't say such words. City Lord Wang Yu waved his hand, handing over the responsibility of offending people to the dog-headed advisor, Wu Ji. In the command center of the Blood Alliance, Blood Red War Flag couldn't understand the current situation at all. Blood Red War Flag also couldn't understand what Finger to the Heavens was trying to do. Why did he start attacking the Quanjin sect? Just as Blood Red War Flag was having a headache, Blood Red War Flag received a message from Wuji, surrender. What? Seeing Wuji's message, Blood Red War Flag thought that it had seen wrongly. It looked at Wuji's message more than 10 times before replying, Boss Wuji, did you send it to the wrong person? No. Wuji said, Old Cow said to surrender and then go offline with your people to hide for a day. Surrender? This. Blood Red War Flag saw Wuji's message and instantly became alert. D***MN, don't tell me Finger in the Heavens and Xuanzhen are working together to mess with me. Mess with you? Blood Red Wind Whisperer asked in confusion. Wuji said to surrender and then go offline to hide. Blood Red War Flag said angrily, D***MN, I treated Xuanzhen as a brother and they actually stabbed me in the back. As expected of Boss Wuji, he is really amazing. Hearing Blood Red War Flag's words, Blood Red Wind Whisperer clapped its hands in excitement and almost jumped up. D***MN, Wind Whisperer, are you crazy? Blood Red War Flag said angrily, what's so amazing about surrendering? They are playing with me. Boss. Blood Red Wind Whisperer said excitedly, I think you should do as Boss Wuji said. We definitely won't be at a disadvantage. D***MN, my management area is about to be taken away, and you still say we won't be at a disadvantage? Could it be that you are a spy planted by Wuji? Blood Red War Flag was clearly enraged as it spoke incoherently. Chapter 1503. This. Although Blood Red War Flag was just being angry, they hesitated after hearing Blood Wind Whisper's words. It was understandable. After all, he was the boss of a super guild. How could he surrender just because someone told him to? How could he answer to his brothers? Seeing that blood-red war flag was hesitating again, Snow-Wind Cloud couldn't help but say, "Boss, do you think we have a chance of winning against Finger Heaven?" This blood-red war flag lowered his head. Right now, sword points to the heavens was unstoppable. Even Quan Jin's sect couldn't raise their heads, let alone Blood Alliance. Even if 20,000 reinforcements rushed back from Immortal Abode Island and fought against the 100,000 players in the city, they would still be drowned in the sea of people's war. Blood-red war flag gritted his teeth. "Even if we can't win, we can't admit defeat." Heh. Blood-Wind Whisper laughed helplessly. He didn't expect Blood-Red War Flag to be such a stubborn person. Since Blood-Red War Flag was so stubborn, Bloody Wind Whisper had no choice but to say, "This is a game world. You can't stop being a coward just because you don't want to admit defeat. If we continue to fight against Finger of the Heavens, our brothers will only lose levels and equipment in the end. If we surrender now and preserve our strength, we can still fight back when Finger of the Heavens' momentum dies down." This. Do you see that? Saying the same words in a different way makes it feel different. Blood-Red War Flag was stunned by Blood-Wind Whisper's words. That's right. No matter how strong Finger in the Heavens was, their foundations were much weaker than Blood Alliance's. As long as everyone had the same level and equipment, and with Saga City as their final base, overthrowing Finger in the Heavens was just a matter of time. Okay. I will explain to my brothers and then surrender. After coming back to his senses, Blood-Red War Flag slapped his thigh and made his decision. Actually, Blood-Red War Flag was thinking too much. If one didn't fight on the front lines, who would know the hardships of the frontline soldiers? No matter how they played the game, they would still play. The losses of war belonged to the guild leader. If the profits were split among the tens of thousands of brothers, it would just be a splash. No one would want to risk their lives for such a small amount. Blood Alliance players were afraid of facing enemies that were more than 10 times their number. They were just waiting for Blood-Red War Flag to surrender. The moment Blood-Red War Flag said this, the Blood Alliance players immediately agreed. F***CK. Blood-Red War Flag wanted to use Blood-Wind Whisper's words to show off their intelligence, but they realized that their underlings were all like this. They felt quite frustrated. However, Blood-Red War Flag chose to surrender in a friendly manner. Inside the command room, when Zhang Zian saw his men forcing Chuanjin to not dare to show his face, he was delighted that his captain did not shoot. Chuanjin, who had been shitting on the heads of Yu Huiqing's various guilds for so long, had finally been knocked off their pedestals. Not only did the party leader not shoot, but the other guild leaders also felt like they were working together to slay a god. Just as the party leader stopped firing and was about to order his players to hunt down Chuanjin, Finger Heavenly's subordinates suddenly received a system notification. Your guild's enemy, Blood Alliance, has decided to surrender and hand over their territory. Seeing this news, Captain Don't Shoot was very surprised. Wasn't he focusing on dealing with Chuanjin now? Why couldn't Blood Alliance hold on? However, no matter what, this was a pleasant surprise. Captain Don't Shoot didn't pay attention to it because his mind was completely focused on Chuanjin. Captain Don't Shoot knew that Chuanjin was a huge problem for him. Compared to Blood Alliance, he was much more dangerous. As long as Chuanjin didn't die, Finger Heavenly wouldn't be able to sleep peacefully. Captain Don't Shoot's goal was to become the city lord, the other guild's goal was to get land, and the players on the front lines wanted to earn money. Once the goal was taken down, the different levels of thinking would immediately cause conflict. This was because at the end of the day, everyone's goal was Blood Alliance. Chuanjin was just a side mission. To put it bluntly, apart from Captain Don't Shoot and the other guild leaders, who would really treat a small group of a dozen people as their main target. Thus, when Finger Heavenly's subordinates saw their biggest target, Blood Alliance, surrender, they were all pumped up. They thought that after fighting for half a day and countless deaths, this matter could finally come to an end. After winning, they would be able to collect their rewards. Hence, the imposing aura that the captain had built up with a lot of money without firing a shot instantly disappeared without a trace. The player's mentality also involuntarily relaxed. From fighters who fought for money, they immediately became ordinary players. Everyone only had one goal, which was to find Captain Don't Shoot to collect their rewards. Although Captain Don't Shoot had ordered them not to relax and to keep a close eye on Chuanjin, the players didn't take it to heart. When Blood Alliance was around, they were a huge target. Chuanjin was right in the middle of Blood Alliance players. Even if they couldn't kill Chuanjin, they would still be able to get a bunch of Blood Alliance players. No matter what, they wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Now, hundreds of thousands of people were staring at a dozen people? Was this a joke? This was in the game. If someone changed their clothes and hid beside you, you wouldn't be able to recognize them. Wasn't this like finding a needle in a haystack? The players' thoughts were quite realistic. They had a clear goal and clear benefit. If they were told to attack, they would attack. If they couldn't even find their target, no matter how big the pie was, they wouldn't be able to digest it. Thus, these players didn't search seriously. After casually looking around and not finding any traces of Chuanjin, they all left the central region and returned to the West District. Their subordinates didn't do anything, and the leaders of the various guilds all had ulterior motive. At the start, Blood Alliance was in front of them and Chuanjin was in front of them. The benefits were right in front of them, but they couldn't get them. Everyone was greedy and started to fight side by side. Now that they had defeated the Blood Alliance, such a huge piece of cake had been placed in front of so many guild leaders with ulterior motives. Could these bastards still work in peace? *CK The Quanjin Sect. If you destroy the Quanjin Sect, your sword points to the heavens will become the boss. What does that have to do with us? We only want these city district. Now that the administrative district is in front of everyone, who cares about the life and death of the Quanjin Sect and whether sword points to the heavens can become the boss of Afterglow City? Blood Alliance had just surrendered and the news hadn't even spread when 2012 sent a message to Captain Don't Shoot. Captain, I want the land in the Central District. If you don't give it to me, then our cooperation will end here. Chapter 1504. Seeing this group of people who had worked so hard to unite turn into such a state not long after, the leader nearly spat out blood. He couldn't help but say, "You guys, can't you think about the big picture? Can you put aside the division of territory for now?" Hearing the leader's words, the other guild leaders panicked. Big picture? Blood Alliance has been overthrown and you are talking about the big picture? Do you want us to beg you to be the city lord of Yu Huiqing before you are willing to divide the territory? Nonsense, look at how arrogant he is. Even if he becomes the city lord of Yu Huiqing, we won't be able to get anything out of it. This bastard is just trying to trick us into working for him for free. Everyone had come from guilds, so what was a guild? Weren't they just those guild leaders who relied on their so-called relationships to force their subordinates to work for them? Captain, don't shoot. These words were not unfamiliar to the presidents at all. It was an old saying used to fool their subordinate. How could these guys with ulterior motives fall for it? If you say that, then there is nothing I can do. The leader had no choice but to say, if we don't wipe out Chuanjin, then don't think about dividing the territory. Damn. The moment the leader said that, everyone panicked and shouted, "Damn, are you messing with me? I'm not doing it anymore. Take the money. Let's go." After that, everyone left the chat group. None of these guild leaders were easy to deal with. After being tricked by the leader, everyone was furious at Finger the Heavens. If they weren't afraid that the leader would spend money to buy their manpower, they would have brought their subordinates to attack Finger the Heavens. Although they didn't dare to openly go against the leader, they couldn't stop them from slandering him in private. The first thing these guild leaders did after leaving the group was to tell their subordinates, "Leader, don't shoot. You are unreliable, all the benefits given to you are just empty promises. Everyone should go home and find their own mothers. There is no need to mess with Chuanjin. As the saying goes, 3 people make a tiger." Of course, the players weren't stupid. They definitely wouldn't work for someone else for free. If a guild leader said so, everyone would definitely consider the truth. However, since every guild leader said the same thing, there was no doubt about the party leader's character. Therefore, all the players withdrew from the Alliance army of Sword in the Heavens. Even those who had been hired at a high price were extremely terrified. In less than half an hour, the hundreds of thousands of men under Captain Don't Shoot had been reduced to their original size of 10,000. Chuanjin's group of bad guys was hiding in the neighboring seaport city. Yu Huiqing's every move was heard by the Chuanjin people through Baiming Yuyu and Mingjian Daoxue. Seeing that Heavenly Sword's plastic brotherhood was over faster than they had imagined, the Quan Jin members laughed so hard that their teeth almost fell off. "Ha ha, F***ck Wuji, you're really vicious." Mingdu gave Wuji a thumbs up and said, "What's this?" Wuji said gleefully, "This is called many tigers competing for food. 1 peach kills 3 soldiers." Wuji was the best at manipulating people's heart. Since Heavenly Sword and the others were working together because of benefits, then as long as he tossed out some benefits, he would be able to incite the conflict between them. Now that Blood Alliance had given up the city, such a big piece of meat was placed in front of them. It directly caused Heavenly Sword's alliance to break apart and collapse on its own. With this lesson, Captain Don't Shoot would probably lose all of his dignity. When the time came, no matter how many benefits there were, these small guilds wouldn't follow him. "Then what should we do now?" Chun Xiang asked. "Let's see Old Cow's opinion." Wuji turned his head and said, "Do you want them to reap the benefits after building up the center, or do you not want to see them in Yu Huiqing?" Scoff. Wang Yu said unhappily, "These people are so ambitious. They dare to steal the city lord's position just by building up the west side. If we let them build up the center, then wouldn't they be too arrogant? Destroy them." "Okay." Wuji nodded his head and sent a message to Bloodwind Whisper, "Okay, let them come online. The show is about to end." "Understood." Bloodwind Whisper received Wuji's order and immediately notified all the Blood Alliance players offline. 10-minute late, all the Blood Alliance players came online. Chuanjin's group also teleported to Yu Huiqing. Seeing Chuanjin's group, Blood Red War Flag looked as if they had seen their savior. They were extremely excited. "Boss Wuji, Blood Alliance's players are all here, please give your orders." Wuji took out a map of Afterglow City and said, 2,000 people will ambush on this side of the trading street. 2,000 people will ambush on the central street. On the central street, 5,000 people will hide on the roof. The rest will ambush at the entrance of the central street. Wang Yu looked at Wuji's arrangement and smiled. "Are you trying to put them in a bag?" The formation that Wuji had set up now was a pocket. Players were lying in ambush on both sides of the central street, and there was a cover above. Especially the players at the entrance of the central street, it was like a rope tied to a pocket. It was obvious that they were planning on surrounding Finger Sky and beating him up. "Not bad. Your eyesight has improved." Wuji smiled and put away the map. "Then how do you plan on luring Finger Sky's people over?" Wang Yu asked. The leader wasn't stupid. The central street's terrain was so obvious, so how could they trap him so easily? Wuji smiled. "Don't worry. They will come themselves." "Aya, leader, don't shoot, contact me." As soon as Wuji said this, Blood Red War Flag shouted, "He wants to talk to me about compensation." Wuji said, "Ask him to come here." "Okay." Blood Red War Flag replied, "I am at the central street." Seeing Blood Red War Flag's message, the leader was annoyed. "You want me to go over?" "Of course." Blood Red War Flag was annoyed. Do you want me to send the city management seal over? Although we lost, we still have our dignity. This. The leader hesitated and asked Big Bear, Damn Blood Red War Flag wants us to negotiate at the Central Street, should we go? Is this a trap? Big Bear heard this and immediately became alert. This. The leader said, I'm not afraid of a trap. Blood Alliance just lost the city battle and the challenge time is on cooldown. The next challenge will be at least half a month later. I'm just afraid that he will kill us to vent his anger. Hearing the captain say not to shoot, Big Bear couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. Chapter 1505. Blood Red War Flag wasn't a good person. Trusting his character was equivalent to suicide. After all, Blood Alliance had so many people, and if they suddenly attacked, sword points to the heavens might not be able to hold them off. After thinking about it, Big Bear said, Why don't we bring people? Let Blood Rain and the others follow you. We'll wait outside. It seems like that's the only way. Leader Don't Shoot nodded his head helplessly. He had no choice. Although bringing so many people would make him feel guilty, if Leader Don't Shoot didn't have the confidence to do so. If he brought everyone, 1, it would give him more courage. 2, if Blood Alliance wanted to do something bad, Finger Heaven would be able to react at any time. Thinking about that, Leader Don't Shoot sent a message to Blood Red War Flag. He said he wants to negotiate at the tavern. Receiving the message, Blood Red War Flag was confused. Is there a difference between the tavern and here? There is. Wuji said. The tavern is a public place and this is a private place. Leader Don't Shoot, he doesn't feel safe at all. He'll definitely find an assassin to scout ahead. If you bring too many people, he definitely won't come. I didn't expect this kid to be so careful. It seems like killing them here won't work. It's okay. Wang Yu waved his hands. As long as I have a reason, I can kill him no matter where he is. See. Hearing Wang Yu's words, everyone sucked in a cold breath. Damn, Leader Don't Shoot. What did he do to offend this guy? What about you guys? Hearing Wuji's analysis, Blood Wind Whisper asked embarrassedly. They didn't know Chuanjin's name, but Wang Yu alone could suppress an entire guild. If Finger Heaven saw that there were people from Chuanjin in the tavern, they definitely wouldn't come. Of course we have to hide. Wuji laughed. Let's hide on the roof of the tavern. That way we can be the first to kill him. We can't kill him like this. Wang Yu touched his chin. I've killed him so many times in the past, and he still doesn't know how to repent. This time, we have to leave a shadow in his heart. F*CK me. The Blood Alliance members once again broke out in cold sweat. They were secretly glad that they didn't offend him too much. If not, they would have ended up the same way as their leader. That's easy. Wuji smiled and said, Listen to my arrangements later. Just as Wuji expected, the captain was very careful not to shoot. After sending assassins to repeatedly confirm the tavern's safety, he led his subordinates to Central Street in a grandiose manner. In just a short while, the Central Street was completely blocked. Then, the team leader stopped firing and led Blood Rain, Blood Wolf, and the other pro players straight into the tavern. Blood Red War Flag was infuriated when their captain told them not to shoot. Although Blood Red War Flag knew that their captain would bring all his underlings over, Blood Rain, Blood Wolf, and other experts were all poached from Blood Alliance. Now that he had brought these people to negotiate, wasn't this a blatant demonstration? Even if the leader didn't open fire to protect himself, but looking at the experts behind him, the Blood Alliance members looked as if they had swallowed flies and felt extremely disgusted. Blood Rain, Blood Wolf, and the others also looked very embarrassed. Humph! Blood Red War Flag couldn't help but mock. Leader boss, you really are impatient. We haven't even taken over and you've already moved your guild here? Haha. Captain Don't Shoot laughed out loud and retorted, Our sword pointing at the heavens understands your blood alliance quite well. I'm not the second Master Guan, so how would I dare to come alone? Alright, cut the crap and get to the main topic. Main topic? What main topic? Blood Red War Flag asked with a confused face. Did I come here to talk nonsense with you? Seeing Blood Red War Flag's expression, Don Shoot said with a black face, if you're willing to bet, you're willing to lose. This city area has surrendered, so the central area will belong to sword pointing at the sky from now on. As for your compensation, how much are you planning to pay? As he said that, the captain stopped firing and pointed at the finger in the heavens player at the entrance of the tavern. This time, just the external help and maintenance fees alone, I spent close to 10 million gold. This is not a small amount for your blood alliance, right? Of course, this is just pocket money and it is not a big deal. As long as your blood alliance admits defeat to finger in the heavens, I am not a stingy person and you just have to pay 1 gold. F***KU. Blood Red War Flag didn't plan on negotiating properly from the start. Now that they were being mocked by sword pointing at the sky, they were furious and pulled out their weapons. What do you want? Right at that moment, Blood Rain stepped forward and stood in front of Don Shoot, a crossbow pointed at Blood Red War Flag's head. Blood Rain. You. Blood Red War Flag was furious. Their brother from back then was now pointing a crossbow at them. That anger was definitely not an act. Go back and sit down. Blood Rain ignored Blood Red War Flag and looked coldly at the seat behind Blood Red War Flag. Blood Wind Whisper hurriedly pulled Blood Red War Flag back. After being together for so long, Blood Red War Flag knew very well how strong Blood Rain was. Pro-level players and normal players weren't on the same level. He hated the fact that Blood Alliance and Blood Red War Flag weren't the boss. They couldn't be like rich people like Captain Don't Shoot and have professional players obediently follow them as bodyguards. Otherwise, they would have to drag the people from Netherworld over to fight to the death with Blood Rain and the others. Good, very good. Blood Red War Flag stared at Blood Rain and said, You've grown up. You want to be arrogant? I'm not going to hand it over with you this time. Don Shoot said, even if you don't hand it over, the system will forcefully transfer the Central Administrative District to Sword Point at the Sky's jurisdiction within 3 days. Don't blame me for not reminding you then. Blood Red War Flag snorted and said, You speak as if you can survive in Yuhuiching for 3 days. The captain, Don't Fire, squinted his eyes and bragged, Are you waiting for the Chuanjin sect to come and collect your corpse? Sorry, Chuanjin's cowards have been beaten to the point where they don't dare to show their faces. They can't care about you anymore. Is that so? Blood Red War Flag smiled and said, Do you think you don't know who you are just because you have some money? Do you think your trash guild can compare to Three Fiend Village? Three Fiend Village? Hearing Blood Red War Flag's words, Don Shoot was slightly stunned. Just as Captain Don't Shoot was about to say something, everyone received a system notification. Chapter 1506. In the setting of Rebirth, there was no cooldown for a declaration of war. Although the Blood Alliance could not declare war, the Quan Jin sect could. When they received this message, Don't Shoot and the others were stunned. D***MN, you dare to trick me? Don't Shoot wasn't an idiot. When he saw the system notification, Don't Shoot immediately understood what was going on. He pointed at Blood Red War Flag and scolded. So what if I am? Blood Red War Flag said with a cheeky smile, The one who declared war on you now is the Quan Jin sect. Whether or not my territory can be taken away by you in 3 days depends on whether you can hold on for 3 days. Just let your dog kill me. Anyway, you have to die with me. As Blood Red War Flag said this, he looked fiercely at Blood Rain and the others. Blood Rain's face was black and expressionless, but one could see that he was furious. Don't Shoot laughed coldly. Are you threatening me? As he said this, Don't Shoot pointed outside the tavern window. Do you think I will fall for your trick? Look outside the window. I don't believe that Xuanzhen can come in and kill me. Is that so? Blood Red War Flag looked in the direction that Don't Shoot was pointing. As expected, the central street was already filled with people. More than 10,000 Finger in the Heavens players stood on the street, filling it to the brim. Interesting. Blood Red War Flag smiled. Luckily, I have quite a few people with me. Leader Don't Shoot. Before he could react, a white light lit up the rooftop in front of him. In an instant, the rooftop was filled with Blood Alliance players. At the same time, Don't Shoot received a message from Big Bear. Wait for me. Boss, not good, we are surrounded. Let's retreat. Don't Shoot saw the message and immediately ordered Blood Rain and the others to retreat. As a professional player, Heaven's Fist immediately threw a bag of gold coins to the tavern owner and used charge to break through the tavern's entrance. The party leader didn't open fire and followed closely behind Heaven's Fist. Behind him, Blood Rain and the others covered him from behind with their weapons. None of the Blood Red War Flag members dared to stop them. In fact, they didn't even want to stop them. This was because Blood Red War Flag knew that their captain wouldn't be able to escape unless he fired. Captain Don't Shoot. The group arrived outside the tavern and saw that the street was already in chaos. The sword-pointing Heavens players and the Blood Alliance players on the rooftops clashed and started to fight one another. Although Sword in the Heavens had a lot of players, their quality was much lower than Blood Alliance's. The reason why they were able to hold on against Blood Alliance's attacks was because they had the home ground advantage. The center of the street was Blood Alliance's home ground. Moreover, Blood Alliance's players occupied the high ground, which was an absolute advantage. Their attacks from above directly suppressed Finger Sky's players. On the streets, white lights lit up one after another, and the number of players pointing their swords at the sky decreased at a visible rate. Central Street was where all of the revival points were. The players from Finger the Heavens died quickly as they were blocked by Blood Alliance at the Central Street. Wuji was even more terrifying than Wang Yu. Although Wang Yu was vicious and strong, Wang Yu was a reasonable person. As long as Yu admitted defeat, he wouldn't pursue the matter. Wuji, this kid, was ruthless. His moves were ruthless. To lure the players from Finger the Heavens to the Central Street to kill them, he had to think of something like that. He wasn't planning on giving them a way out at all. The players from Finger the Heavens were paid to work, and since the boss didn't tell them to retreat, no one dared to stay at the revival point. At this moment, the players from Finger the Heavens were either dead or alive. Their experience dropped like water. If this continued, sooner or later, they would all be wiped out by Blood Alliance. Captain Don't Shoot panicked when he saw the situation. He immediately ordered, "Don't stop at the Central Street. Forget about the streets on the sides." After receiving the order, the players from Finger the Heavens felt like they had been pardoned. They rushed to the next street, afraid that they would be too slow. However, the road from the Central Street to the next two streets was just a small alley. The terrain was really narrow and only 2 to 3 people could pass at a time. All of a sudden, all of the players were squeezed together. The luckier players at the front squeezed out of the alley. Just as they thought that they had escaped, the moment they exited the alley, they saw a black mass of players blocking it. As the saying goes, one man can hold the pass against 10,000. The alley was so narrow that only a few people could pass through at a time. The Blood Alliance players stuck the True Sight gem into the ground and blocked the alley. Even the assassins couldn't escape. That was a simple and easy task. With a wave of attacks, they killed the Sword in the Heavens players. F***CK. Seeing his subordinates being killed again, the team leader stopped firing. He knew that this time, he had been killed by someone else. He panicked and hurriedly said to Blood Rain and the others, "I can't die. Quick, cover my retreat." Hearing Captain Don't Shoot, Blood Rain and the others were speechless. Their opponents were close to 10,000 people, and they had the terrain advantage. Relying on a team to cover them was just nonsense. But since they had taken someone's money, they had to share their worries and difficulties. No matter how helpless Blood Rain's group was, they had to brace themselves and rush out. Of course, Blood Rain and the others weren't stupid. They were surrounded on all sides, and the narrower the path, the easier it was to die. So, the few of them protected Captain Don't Shoot and ran towards the central street. But just as they reached the intersection, they were surrounded by a black mass of people. Blood Alliance had 1,000 people lying in ambush at the intersection. No matter how strong Blood Rain and the others were, facing 1,000 people head-on would only lead to death. After one round, they were forced to retreat. On the roof of the church, the people from the Quan Zhen sect looked at the chaotic scene below them. They felt quite satisfied. Damn it, the Quan Zhen sect was already thanking the heavens for not taking the initiative to provoke others. Yet, sword pointed to the heavens had provoked the Quan Zhen sect time and time again. Moreover, they even wanted to fight to the death with the Quan Zhen sect. This time, they would fulfill their captain's wish and not shoot at them. Otherwise, he would always feel sullen in Afterglow City. How is it? Wuji smiled as he pointed at Captain Don't Shoot and asked Wang Yu, City Lord Tai, do you want to leave a shadow in their hearts? Wang Yu was confused. Okay, but there are so many of them. If I go down now, Captain Don't Shoot will at least give me some courage. Sure. Wuji smiled and sent a message in the channel. Open up a hole at the intersection and let Captain Don't Shoot out. Chapter 1507. There was a saying that those who were loyal were mostly people who slaughtered dogs, and those who were ungrateful were mostly scholars. It seemed like it made sense. People like us who slaughtered pigs and dogs wouldn't be able to think of such a sinister idea. They surrounded the players from Finger the Heavens and purposely released the party leader to let Wang Yu kill him for fun. It was like a cat chasing a mouse. This was the so-called killing people's hearts. After receiving Wuji's orders, the Blood Alliance players at the end of the street immediately stopped attacking Don't Shoot. Seeing this, Blood Rain and the others went all out to protect Don't Shoot their leader and kill their way out of the encirclement. Seeing this, Wang Yu jumped down from the roof and chased after them. Don't Shoot ran while looking back to see if there were any pursuers. At this moment, he was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have promised the central management area. Even if it was just for those people from 2012 to smell it, he wouldn't have ended up like this. After all, after Yu Huiqing and the other small guilds united, they were still quite strong. Even if only a few guilds followed Point Sword in the sky, they wouldn't be completely surrounded by Blood Alliance. Right now, Don't Shoot was like a stray dog. Not only were his subordinates surrounded, he didn't even know how long he could live. Luckily, the West District was not far away. As long as he returned to the West District, he would be safe for now. This was because the West District was still considered Point Sword in the Sky's territory. Don't Shoot was a businessman, and after taking control of the West District, he bought all the houses in the West District at a low price. He planned to keep them and sell them at a high price. In Rebirth, as long as one bought a house and had the deed, it would be considered private property, and even the city lord wouldn't have the right to interfere. Without the permission of the owner, other players wouldn't be able to enter the house. It could be said that these houses were a safe zone. It was because of these houses that Point Sword and the Sky players were able to fight with Blood Alliance for so long in the West District. However, just as Don't Shoot was about to step into the West District, a familiar figure appeared in front of him. That person was 8 feet tall and extremely muscular. He had a square face and thick eyebrows and big eyes. He stood in the middle of the road like an invisible wall, giving off a sense of pressure. Boss. Iron Ox. Seeing the appearance of the person in front of them, the captain turned pale with fright. Blood Rain and the others beside him also took a step back in fright. When he saw Captain Don't Shoot, Wang Yu said indifferently, "Captain, boss, where are you going?" Just walk around." Captain Don't Shoot shuddered when he heard this. He quickly winked at Blood Rain and the others and said, "You guys stop him." Blood Rain's group naturally knew how powerful Wang Yu was. Unless they had no other choice, these guys absolutely didn't want to fight with Wang Yu. However, the boss had spoken, so they had to listen. So Blood Rain didn't say anything. He knocked an arrow and shot at Wang Yu. The fist of the halls of heaven transformed his scepter into a shield, which he used to block the incoming attack. "Go!" After Blood Rain finished shooting, he pulled Captain Don't Shoot and turned to leave. When Wang Yu saw that Captain Don't Shoot was about to run, he raised his foot to give chase. At that moment, all the players from the Firmament Battle Team, Sword Against the Heavens, hurriedly formed a line and blocked Wang Yu's path. Fist of the Halls of Heaven took a step forward and raised his shield in front of Wang Yu. "Your opponent is," before Fist of the Halls of Heaven could finish his sentence, Wang Yu stomped down on Fist of the Halls of Heaven's face, sending him tumbling to the ground. Before Wang Yu could finish, Blood Wolf suddenly appeared behind Wang Yu, raised his dagger, and stabbed at Wang Yu's back. Wang Yu tilted her body slightly and grabbed Blood Wolf with her left hand without even taking a look. Blood Wolf was caught in her hand. At the same time, the magic arrows of the other experts flew towards Wang Yu's face. Several other melee experts had already surrounded Wang Yu. Wang Yu grabbed Blood Wolf and threw him forward. All of the attacks landed on Blood Wolf's body. Bang, bang, bang. After a series of explosions, Blood Wolf exploded into a cloud of white light. After Blood Wolf died, the white light had yet to dissipate when a soldier in front of Wang Yu raised his sword and slashed at Wang Yu. Wang Yu's figure dashed forward and arrived in front of the soldier. He raised his right hand and stabbed it into the soldier's throat without any deviation. The warrior died on the spot in a flash of white light. Wang Yu didn't stop in his tracks. He rushed to the side of the Heaven's Dome players, rubbed his palms together, and 2 dragons, one red and one blue, flew out. Dual Dragon Break. This was one of the strongest attacks of the current Chi Master, and in Wang Yu's hands, it was even more powerful. In a single exchange, he broke through Team Heaven's Dome's blockade. Tearing open a gap, Wang Yu swaggered away. At this moment, under the protection of Blood Rain, Captain Don't Shoot had already circled to another street. Seeing that Wang Yu didn't chase after him, Captain Don't Shoot couldn't help but wipe his sweat and said, "Damn, that bastard won't chase after us, right?" Blood Rain looked back and saw that no one was chasing, so he comforted Captain Don't Shoot, "Don't worry, Heaven and the others are also top experts. Even if they can't beat him, they can still hold him for a while." But before Blood Rain's voice fell, that demonic voice sounded in their ears again, "Hey, we meet again." The two hurriedly looked up and saw that not far ahead, Wang Yu was looking at them with a smile. Damn! Captain Don't Shoot was so scared that he cried this time. He subconsciously hid behind Blood Rain and said in a trembling voice, "Blood Rain, think of a way, I'll give you a raise." Blood Rain patted Captain Don't Shoot's shoulder and sent a private message, "You go first. I'll take care of it." As he spoke, Blood Rain raised his bow and arrow and launched the archer's ultimate skill, Meteor Arrow. Suddenly, a white arrow light poured out like mercury, instantly drowning Wang Yu. Captain Don't Shoot took advantage of Blood Rain to hold Wang Yu and quietly slipped into the small alley next door. In order to avoid Wang Yu's pursuit, the captain didn't shoot. After circling around the street for an entire round, he finally entered the Xiqing district's administrative area. He couldn't wait to walk to the door of a house and was about to walk in. At this moment, a big hand reached out from behind and grabbed Captain Don't Shoot's shoulder. Captain Don't Shoot's heart almost jumped out. He subconsciously turned his head and looked. Wang Yu's nightmarish face appeared in Captain Don't Shoot's eyes. Seeing Wang Yu like a maggot in a tarsal bone, Captain Don't Shoot's spirit finally collapsed. His legs went soft and he directly squatted on the ground. Chapter 1508. I heard that all the houses here belong to you? After catching Don't Shoot Captain, Wang Yu did not kill him with one punch but suddenly asked, It's mine. Don't Shoot Captain nodded blankly. He didn't know what Wang Yu meant. Real estate speculators are really rich. Wang Yu sighed and said, Do you know why I caught you? No, I don't know. Don't Shoot Captain was about to cry. As a rich man, Don't Shoot Captain knew that the more aggressive a guy was, the less dangerous he would be. Those who could remain calm under anger could only be described as dangerous. You don't know. Wang Yu frowned and said, It seems that you still don't know how to repent. No, no, no. Hearing Wang Yu's words, Don't Shoot Captain was scared out of his wits. He quickly said, I know I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Oh? Then what do you think of me as a castellan? Tell me the truth. Wang Yu still looked indifferent. At this time, Don't Shoot Captain didn't dare to say anything else. He quickly gave a thumbs up and said, For the city and the people, Yu Huiqing is a good castellan. And what you said makes sense. In fact, I think so too. Wang Yu nodded extremely shamelessly and said, Don't assassinate me again in the future. Do you understand? Hearing Wang Yu's words, Don't Shoot Captain finally knew why Chuanjin couldn't get along with Skyward Sword. Don't Shoot Captain's heart directly went cold to his heels. Wang Yu didn't care about Don't Shoot Captain's expression but said to himself, Do you know what to do now? This. Don't Shoot Captain took out a seal with a bitter face and handed it to Wang Yu. I am willing to surrender. Surrender and forget it? Wang Yu took the seal and continued to stare at Don't Shoot Captain. Don't Shoot Captain trembled under Wang Yu's stare. He panicked and said, Guru Iron Ox, we really know we were wrong. Whoever dares to provoke Chuanjin in the future is a grandson. The captain's words came from the bottom of his heart. Honestly, the captain thought that he would be able to suppress the Chuanjin army by roping in more than 100,000 people. In the end, the Chuanjin army easily crushed these 100,000 people. This kind of person was simply too terrifying. Wang Yu said coldly, You've offended so many people. Even if we, Chuanjin, forgive you, do you think the other guilds will? Hearing Wang Yu's words, Sky Sword's face turned green. He said in shock, Then, you mean you want to expel Sky Sword from Yu Huiqing? Banishment could be said to be the greatest punishment for players in Rebirth. Not only would the banished players' reputation points and reputation points in the city be reduced to 0, but they would also no longer be allowed to set foot in the main city. Even if they went to other main cities, they would be hated by the NPCs. After all, those who were expelled were all sinners. Just like criminals with criminal records, they would not be trusted and acknowledged by the NPCs of the main cities. Players played games and joined guilds because they wanted to have a sense of belonging. If they did not even have a main city, the NPCs would not give them missions or even sell them items. Then, what was the point of playing the game? Banishment was definitely the most fatal punishment for a guild. As for the captain, not only did he have a property in the city of Yu Huiqing, he also had the largest guild encampment in Yu Huiqing outside the city. Whether it was the city or the encampment, the captain had put in a lot of effort. Once he was banished, all these things would be for naught. No matter how rich the captain was, when he heard that all his hard work would be destroyed, he trembled in pain. That's what you said. I don't have the right to say that. Wang Yu waved his hand and said, I just don't want to see you guys again. As for what to do, that's your problem. It seemed like Wang Yu was extremely disgusted with the captain not to shoot. Although Wang Yu did not say that he wanted to expel Sky Sword, the meaning between the lines was very clear. Hurry up and get lost, don't hang around here anymore. With Wang Yu's personality, it was really difficult to hate someone so much. Even if it was Dugu Jiuqiang, Wang Yu felt that there was something cute about him. As for the captain, other than being rich, Wang Yu did not see any good points about him. Chapter 1509. How many good things had Finger in the Heavens done since he appeared? To make a name for himself, he hired people to ambush Juanjin. Wang Yu's virginity almost fell into the hands of Finger in the Heavens. Not only that, he even spent a lot of money to poach people from Blood Alliance, causing them to have no choice but to swallow their pride. How did the West District come to be? Did they earn it with Juanjin's help? Even when they attacked Harbor City, it was Finger in the Heavens who reaped the benefit. Although Juanjin did receive a fee, they split the profits evenly and no one mistreated the other. In the end, the person who benefited the most was still Finger in the Heavens. Captain Don't Shoot was not only ungrateful, but he also hired people to assassinate Wang Yu. How could Wang Yu have a good impression of such an ingrate? There were many rich people. Both Zongheng and young Master Feng were rich. However, there was only one person like Captain Don't Shoot who did whatever he wanted with money. Wang Yu disliked this kind of person from the bottom of his heart. Kicking him out of the city early wouldn't be bad for anyone. Boss Iron Ox, Captain Don't Shoot said with a bitter face, is there really no room for negotiation? Wang Yu shook his head. I don't think this is a bad thing for either of us. I don't want to kill anyone and you don't want to die either. I think that since we know each other, it wouldn't be good for me to help you get kicked out. Hearing Wang Yu's words, Captain Don't Shoot finally shut up. Wang Yu's words were very clear. Either die, scram, or personally apply to get kicked out. Wang Yu was the city lord of Yu Huiqing. If he wanted to kick someone out, it was the same as a forum moderator blacklisting someone. The procedure was just a formality. If he left, although the house couldn't be used, it was still his property. He could still make a comeback in another city. If he was kicked out, not only would the house not be his, he wouldn't be accepted by the NPCs in other cities. This was a total blacklisting. With such a simple choice, he believed that Captain Don't Shoot would make the right choice. All right. After pondering for a moment, he finally gritted his teeth and said, All right, let's go. Captain Don't Shoot was a decent man. It was better to leave on his own than to be chased away. That's right, Wang Yu said with satisfaction. Since you've decided to leave, then I won't say anything more. I don't want to see anyone in Yu Huiqing pointing their swords at the heavens for the next 3 days. I hope you're on your own. With that, Wang Yu let go of the captain's collar and threw him on the ground. Then, she walked away. On Central Street, the battle was coming to an end. Under the attacks of Blood Alliance, the players from Finger in the Heavens had no way of fighting back at all. After their leader stopped firing and ran, the players from Finger in the Heavens lost all of their energy and decided to hide at the revival point. Up in the church, Chun Xiang smiled and said, How many times do you think Old Cow will kill Captain Don't Shoot this time? 10 times. Mingdu blurted out. With Old Cow's temper, I think 10 times should be enough. 20 times. To place one's pride said, Uncle Nyo even killed the birds of paradise so many times. This time, Captain Don't Shoot and attack us. I think it will be at least 20 times. What about you, Wuji? Chun Xiang turned his head and asked Wuji. Wuji thought about it and said, I think Captain won't die if he doesn't shoot. Why? Hearing Wuji's words, everyone didn't understand. Looking at Old Cow's aura, why won't he kill? Because Old Cow is really angry this time. Wuji said calmly, with Old Cow's personality, he won't bother with such people. Old Cow is here. Just as everyone was making wild guesses, Wang Yu's figure appeared in the sky. Wang Yu retracted his wings and landed not far away from them. Is it settled? Wu Ji asked casually. It's settled, Wang Yu replied calmly. How was it settled? Wu Ji was also very curious about how Wang Yu would deal with Captain Don't Shoot. Wang Yu said calmly, make him scram. That's it? Mingdu said in disbelief. Didn't you kill him dozens of times and make him kneel and eat sh*t? Wang Yu said, that's too light of a punishment. You said make him scram? Are you telling him to leave Yu Huiqing forever? Wu Ji heard this and raised his eyebrows. Yes. I don't want to see this kind of person in my territory. Wang Yu nodded. F***ck. No way, so ruthless? Hearing Wang Yu's words, everyone in Chuanjian inhaled a breath of cold air. As veteran online gamers, these guys knew how much of an impact banishment had on a guild. Solo players were fine. They could feed themselves and not starve. Even if they were banished, they could still roam the world as their home. A guild, especially a large guild like Finger the Heavens, being banished was equivalent to being uprooted. After all, most guild players were dependent on the main city. They wouldn't easily leave their familiar environment because of a guild relocation. Moreover, these players were hired by Captain Don't Shoot. They weren't very loyal to the guild. Once Captain Don't Shoot was banished by Wang Yu, he would probably become a general without an army. Ruthless? Wu Ji asked. Compared to what Captain Don't Shoot did to Old Cow, I think Old Cow is already very lenient. Since ancient times, the winner takes all. He's a bunch of rebels. It's good enough that he didn't die. Makes sense, makes sense. Everyone expressed their agreement. Chun Xiang said with a smile. I heard that Captain Don't Shoot is a big owner. All the properties in the Western District belong to him. That's right. Mingdu came over and said, Niu Gu, you have to punish this kind of property speculator. I think you should confiscate all his properties and give them to us, the heroes of Chuanjian. Mingdu is right. I agree. Everyone from Chuanjian nodded in unison. Trash. Wang Yu looked at these bastards in disdain. Tomorrow, Captain Don't Shoot will be auctioning properties and the guild encampment in the conference hall. You guys have to be early. Wow. For real? Hearing Wang Yu's words, everyone from Chuanjian was so excited that they almost jumped up. In the game, just like in reality, property was the biggest expense. Everyone from Chuanjian had a large reserve of gold coins in the game. They had so much money that they couldn't spend it all. Instead of watching the price of gold slowly depreciate, they might as well spend it all. At the very least, the number of players in Rebirth was increasing day by day. Compared to consumables like equipment, the price of houses was increasing day by day. Even if they couldn't use it to live in or open a shop, they could at least use it as a warehouse. Captain Don't Shoot hoarding houses was actually because of this point. In the end, the people from Chuanjian got what they wanted. They didn't expect that after Wang Yu expelled Captain Don't Shoot, they could still get such benefits. At this moment, everyone from Chuanjian was excited, especially to place one's pride. He said excitedly, Uncle Niu, I know a few big hoarders. You can expel them as well. For a whole month, Yu Huiqing was peaceful. Under Wang Yu's management, it was orderly, harmonious, and peaceful. Players lived in peace. Not to mention PK, Yu Huiqing didn't even dare to quarrel on the streets. A month wasn't a long time. Wang Yu finally rose from level 61 to level 65. The others in Chuanjian also rose to level 60 and started to do level 60 skill quests. When Wang Yu reached level 65, he received a system notification. Hermit seems to be looking for you. It seemed like it was another quest. Otherwise, Old Man Hermit wouldn't have taken the initiative to look for Wang Yu. When he arrived at Yu Huiqing's alley, Old Man Hermit was like a drunkard. As usual, Wang Yu took out a bottle of wine and opened the lid. Old Man Hermit smelled it and crawled out of the dark corner. Burp! After finishing the bottle of wine, Old Man Hermit burped and looked at Wang Yu in satisfaction. You're here. Yes. Wang Yu said respectfully. Teacher, when will you be looking for me? You've improved a lot. Hermit said slowly. I think you can help me with some things. System notification. You have activated the sect quest, Darkness Rift. Do you want to accept? After Wang Yu logged off, he often accompanied Mu Zixin to browse the forums. He had heard of sect quest. After players reached level 60, their skills and equipment were basically complete. The experience needed to level up had also become an astronomical number. If you wanted to gain experience quickly, you could either do dungeons or receive sect quests from the class instructors. In Rebirth, every class had 10 sect quests every month. The difficulty was random. It could be as difficult as killing a god-tier boss, or as simple as searching the street. Not only did each sect quest give a large amount of experience, reputation, and honor, it also gave monetary rewards. Of course, Wang Yu's was a bit special. Wang Yu had been level 60 for a month, but this was the first time he had taken the initiative to look for Wang Yu and give him a quest. Just the name of this darkness crevice alone was enough to tell that the difficulty level was not low. Wang Yu quite liked challenges, but for the sect to give him such a mission, according to Wang Yu's understanding of the hermit, it was definitely not a good thing. You could choose not to accept sect quests, but if you didn't, the quest would always be there. If you cancelled the quest after completing it, congratulations, you would be hated by the instructor and not receive any quests for 30 days. It had to be known that the experience reward of sect quests was very generous. If you didn't accept a sect quest for 30 days, you would be at least 2 levels behind other players of the same level. Unless they had no other choice, no one would be so bored as to make life difficult for an instructor. Except, Wang Yu didn't even think before clicking confirm. As expected, when he saw Wang Yu accept the quest, Hermit laughed. Hee, what a good student! Wang Yu felt goosebumps all over his body from Hermit's strange smile. He wiped his sweat speechlessly and said, Instructor, what is it? Can't you just give me a quick answer? Don't rush. Hermit said, she'll be here soon. This isn't a quest for you alone. Her? Wang Yu frowned. There's someone else? Hearing Hermit say this, Wang Yu's heart was even more uncertain. As the saying goes, don't be afraid of a godlike opponent, but be afraid of a pig-like teammate. If it was Wang Yu's quest alone, he could go anywhere in the world. However, finding a companion for Wang Yu would be a lot more troublesome. If it was just a cooperative relationship, with Wang Yu's strength, he could make that damned companion stay at the revival point and hug his thigh. If it was an escort quest, it would be much more difficult. Just as Wang Yu was considering whether or not to beat up Hermit, a familiar figure suddenly walked into the alley. Hey, beautiful! Chapter 15:11. Yu Huiqing's sunset shone on the player's face through the narrow alleyway. In the afterglow, Wang Yu saw the player's face clearly and was stunned. Wasn't this Meng Shi, Ming Jian Daoshua's girlfriend? Big Pretty? What a bullsh *T name. Although Meng Shi had joined Xuanzhen, she was the last one to join. Moreover, this lady's personality didn't fit in with Xuanzhen's group of scum machines. Therefore, Wang Yu and Meng Shi hadn't spoken much. They were only familiar with each other's faces and names, but they hadn't interacted. It was truly unexpected for them to meet in this dark and smelly alleyway. When Meng Shi saw Wang Yu, she was dumbfounded and asked, "What are you doing here?" Saying that, Meng Shi took out a few bottles of wine from her bag and handed them to Hermit. Me! Wang Yu pointed at himself and asked Hermit, "What's going on, teacher?" "Ha!" Hermit smiled and said, "This is your companion for this mission." Then, Hermit said to Meng Shi, "Big Pretty, this is my useless disciple. Let him accompany you on this exploration mission. If you need anything, just call him. Damn. Hearing Hermit's words, Wang Yu's face darkened. This old man couldn't stay in the beggar gang anymore and changed his profession to a pimp? You're his disciple? Although Meng Shi hadn't seen Wang Yu's abilities with her own eyes, she had heard a little about it. Hearing Hermit say that Wang Yu was his disciple, Meng Shi was also very surprised. After all, in Meng Shi's impression, Wang Yu was an expert and the lord of a city. How could he be the disciple of such a stinky, lazy, and despicable old beggar? He's my class mentor. Wang Yu replied with an embarrassed expression. With that, Wang Yu asked Hermit, "What about my mission?" After hearing Wang Yu's question, Hermit said in a rare serious tone, "This young lady told me that a dark rift has appeared in the west of the Essel Mountains. I hope you can accompany her to investigate it." As soon as Hermit finished his sentence, Wang Yu received a system notification. You have accepted the quest, Dark Crevice. Mission level, none. Quest details. Protect player Meng Shi and investigate the darkness rift. Player Meng Shi has died. Quest ended. This, after receiving the mission, Wang Yu was somewhat speechless as he asked Meng Shi, "This mission is yours?" Meng Shi glanced at Hermit and explained, "I received this quest when I came over from the European server. It's been a month since today, and the quest has been updated. They asked me to contact the NPCs here to receive it again. In Rebirth, it was very complicated to cross regions. For the player's convenience, the quest would change according to the player's region within a certain period of time. For example, Flowing Cloud was a Grandmaster of Combat's hidden subclass. However, if one handed in the Grandmaster of Combat quest in Yu Huiqing, one could look for Yu Huiqing's hidden class mentor. Similarly, if Meng Shi accepted the quest in the European server, she could look for a similar NPC in the Yu Huiqing region to hand in the quest. As Meng Shi had ignored the quest for a month, the system thought that she could not find the corresponding NPC, so the system automatically notified her that the quest had changed. Then why did you drag me into this when you accepted the quest? Wang Yu was puzzled. I don't know. Meng Shi pointed at Hermit and said, "This old man asked me for money when he saw me. I gave it to him because he was so pitiful. In the end, he said that if I bought a few bottles of wine for him, he would find me a helper to complete the quest." Great. Wang Yu finally understood. This old fart, Hermit, had actually accepted someone's money to make him, a student, work for someone else. He was too good at selling off his disciples. Hey, teacher. Wang Yu was speechless. How much money did you receive? Shouldn't you give me half of it? Haha. Old man Hermit beamed as he took out 5 gold coins and said, "What you said makes sense. Here, this is yours." 5 gold coins? Wang Yu was stunned. You're selling me for 10 gold coins? Not at all. Hermit laughed. 1,000. F***ck. Wang Yu took out a big money pouch and said, "I'll pay 2,000 gold coins for the quest to be completed immediately." This. I'm afraid not. Hermit shook his head. Why can she do it but I can't? Wang Yu was furious. Because she's pretty. Hermit smiled wretchedly. Pretty? Wang Yu sized up Meng Shi and said, "Very average. I'm pretty handsome too." What did you say? When Meng Shi heard the word average, her eyes narrowed. The alley was instantly filled with murderous intent. This isn't a matter of being handsome or not. Hermit said, this is a matter of charm. This lady's hidden charm is full points. As NPCs, we have to give her face. There's such a thing? Hearing Hermit's words, Wang Yu was dumbfounded. After playing games for so long, this was the first time Wang Yu had heard of such a setting. Of course. Hermit said, haven't you noticed? Some people's class advancement quests and awakening quests are very simple, but some people's quests are extremely difficult. There seems to be such a thing. Then why does a certain person sound so familiar? Thinking of this, Wang Yu's old face darkened. He stared at Hermit and said, "What's my charm?" Ha ha. Hermit laughed and said, "Only one." Wang Yu was speechless. Damn it, no wonder the quests and NPCs he encountered were all so troublesome, while others had it easy. So this was the problem. Seeing Wang Yu's expression, Hermit comforted him. Low charm is actually nothing. Other than being often tricked by NPCs, having high difficulty quests, and being easily attacked by monsters in the wild, you're no different from a normal person. Alright, stop talking. Wang Yu hurriedly told Hermit to shut up and got up to walk out of the alley gloomily. Hey, where are you going? Seeing that Wang Yu was about to slip away, Meng Shi hurriedly caught up and said, I hired you for 1,000 gold coins, you have to listen to me, 1,000 gold coins. Wang Yu touched the 5 gold coins that Hermit had just handed to him. Thinking about the experience and other rewards from the sect quests, he suppressed his anger and said, All right, where are we going now? Of course we're going to the Essel Mountains. Meng Shi said. This. Wang Yu was a little troubled. A man and a woman alone. Why don't we find a few more people to go with us? Wang Yu also knew about the Essel Mountains. It was the boundary between the local server and the European server. It was very far away from Yu Huiqing. Chapter 15:12. Meng Shi was baffled by Wang Yu's suggestion. As a girl who grew up in a Western society, it was difficult for her to understand Wang Yu's feelings. However, Meng Shi patiently explained, My mission can only be done by 2 people. All right then. Hearing Meng Shi's words, Wang Yu was helpless. It was not easy for him to take on a sect mission. He could not just cancel it like that. He had no choice but to risk his life to accompany the gentleman. The west side of the Essel Mountains was already within the European server. To pass through the Essel Mountains, one had to first take an airship to reach Barbaric City. Barbaric City was the main city at the edge of the national server. It was a 2-hour flight from Yu Huiqing. Although this main city was known for its desolation, and its scale was not comparable to a big city like St. Light City, it was very high on the Rebirth leaderboard. This was because the number 1 guild in the national server, the 9 States Empire, was located here. Only God knew why such a large guild like the 9 States Empire did not find a more prosperous main city as its base. Instead, it chose to hide in such a desolate place. Could it be that it wanted to make a fortune in silence? Such conjectures had been made since the launch of Rebirth. Until now, no one knew the specific reason. Of course, it could also be that there was no reason at all. It could be simply because of self-confidence. Just like how Wang Yu never considered what kind of weapon he used to beat people up. It was such a wonderful thing to travel with a beautiful woman. Unfortunately, Wang Yu was not a person who was good at communicating. Meng Shi's words were even more pitiful. During the 2-hour flight, the 2 of them sat on the airship and played the game of see who speaks first. It was obvious that both of them were experts. From boarding the airship to landing in Barbaric City, there was no clear winner between the 2 of them. Compared to Yu Huiqing, the main city of Barbaric City was very retro. However, there were many players on the streets. It seemed that the 9 States Empire was indeed powerful. A guild could pull the economy of a main city. The signboard effect was quite effective. The 2 of them did not come here to explore the folk customs and experience life. After getting off the airship, the 2 of them walked out of the city gate. However, as soon as the 2 of them left the city gates, a group of players blocked their path. One of the tall, burly warriors extended his long sword and stood in front of Wang Yu and Meng Shi, asking in a low, muffled voice, Where are you going? What does it have to do with you? Wang Yu blocked Meng Shi behind him and asked coldly. Look at this. The soldier pointed at the badge on his chest and said, This road is the only way out of the country. Everyone who passes through here has to pay a toll. This is the rule, understand? The emblem on the warrior's chest was a simple little cauldron. Wang Yu did not know what it meant, but he knew what the toll fee was. After all, Chuanjin had opened up the sea route not long ago, and anyone who wanted to go to Yingzhou Island from Harbor City would have to pay a toll. Wang Yu was a rule-abiding person. Since it was the rule here, Wang Yu naturally had to do as the Romans do, so he asked, "How much is it?" "1 gold coin per person," the soldier said. "So cheap?" Wang Yu was quite surprised by the soldier's asking price. The toll fee from Harbor City to Yingzhou Island was 10 gold coins per person. In comparison, 1 gold coin was really not high. So Wang Yu took out 2 gold coins and handed it to the soldier. The soldier took the gold coins and quickly gave way. Wang Yu and Meng Shi continued forward. After a few minutes, another group of people appeared on the road. Just like the soldier before, they pointed at the badge on their chest and said, "Check the toll fee." Wang Yu was stunned when he heard that and said unhappily, "I already paid it just now." The soldier slammed his sword on the ground and said rudely, "That's none of our business. That's a different matter. Hurry up and pay up, or get lost. Be more polite." Wang Yu's face darkened, and his tone started to turn cold. "Forget it." Meng Shi, who had been silent behind Wang Yu, took out 2 gold coins and threw it to the soldier. Then she said to Wang Yu, "It's just 2 gold coins, there's no need to get entangled with them." "This is not about the gold coins," Wang Yu said with a straight face, "this is blatant robbery." "Hey, you're right." Hearing Wang Yu's words, a short assassin behind the soldier walked up to him and said, "We are robbing, what can you do to us?" As he said that, the assassin casually took out a dagger, and the rest of them also took out their weapons. Bang! However, before they could get into position, they suddenly heard a dull sound. The assassin was smashed into white light by Wang Yu's fist. Wang Yu looked at his fist, then at the surrounding players, and said calmly, "What do you think I can do to you?" Seeing Wang Yu kill the assassin with 1 punch, the rest of them were stunned. They immediately realized that they had kicked an iron plate. The soldier quickly handed the gold coins to Wang Yu and said, "Big brother, this is your money, you can go anywhere you want. We don't know the assassin just now." Wang Yu did not take the money, but frowned and said, "What's going on? How many people are there on this road asking for money?" "This," the soldier said with some grievance, "we didn't want to do such things, we were forced to do it." "What? Did someone put a knife to your neck?" Wang Yu was puzzled. "Not really," the soldier said with a bitter face. "Big brother, you are going to the Essel Mountains, right?" "Yeah." Wang Yu nodded. "I advise you to join us, big brother. Let's pool our travel expenses and go together," the soldier said eagerly. "Pool our travel expenses and go together? What do you mean?" Wang Yu touched his nose, it sounded a little awkward. At this time, a mage next to the soldier explained, "Go straight west from here, near the Essel Mountains. There is someone who is collecting money from the road, 100 gold coins per pass. We don't know each other, so we gathered here just to get some travel expenses." "Yes, yes, yes." The soldier nodded and pointed at the badge on his chest. "Look, these fake badges of the 9 States Empire, we bought them from that person." "Road robbery and fake? This kid is quite capable. Isn't he afraid that the people of the 9 States Empire will find trouble with him?" Wang Yu was surprised. There were really many capable people in this game, daring to ruin the reputation of the 9 States Empire in the territory of the 9 States Empire. "Yes, that's a super expert. He's really capable," the soldier said with lingering fear. "You know the 9 States battle team, right? It is said that they were all defeated by him. The 9 States Empire would not dare to provoke him." "No way? The 9 States battle team is not weak, right? What's the name of that person?" Wang Yu was a little confused. Although the 9 States battle team lost to Chuanjin, their strength was definitely top-notch. There were not many players in the entire game who could defeat the experts of the 9 States battle team. Chapter 1513. Iron Ox. Hearing that, Wang Yu was stunned on the spot. What? You don't know? It's that Iron Ox, the champion of the professional league. The warrior explained anxiously. 9 states were all defeated by him. You don't even know this? How can I not know? Wang Yu was speechless. Meng Shi stuck her head out from behind Wang Yu and stared at Wang Yu, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Hey, you're still doing this? Nonsense. Wang Yu was furious. Let's go. I want to see what that Iron Ox is. With that, Wang Yu grabbed Meng Shi's collar, spread his wings, and flew in the direction of the Essel Mountains, leaving behind a bunch of dumbfounded passers-by. F***ck, what was that just now? The warrior looked at Wang Yu's back and asked, dumbfounded. The mage shook his head. I don't know, but he's definitely not someone to be trifled with. How do you know? Duh, he's going to kill Iron Ox. How can he be trifled with? The mage gave the warrior the middle finger. Although he was carrying a person, it didn't affect Wang Yu's flying speed. In just 4 to 5 minutes, Wang Yu and Meng Shi arrived at the foot of the Essel Mountains. The two didn't go far. As expected, just as the warrior said, on the road that they had to pass through the Essel Mountains, there was a big guy lying lazily on the side of the road with a piece of hay in his mouth, basking in the sun. Not only was this guy burly and similar to Wang Yu, even his appearance was somewhat similar. He was wearing the same martial arts uniform, the same boxing gloves, and even his appearance was 70 to 80% similar. Seeing Wang Yu walk over, the guy didn't even raise his head. He stretched his leg out at the intersection and said lazily, 100 gold per person. What do we do if we don't have money? Wang Yu suppressed his anger and asked with a dark face. Bah. As soon as Wang Yu's voice fell, the man threw a badge at him and said without raising his head, This is the badge of the 9 States Empire. 1 gold coin for 1. Go to the city gate and block the road. Come back after you've earned enough money. Hearing that person's words, Wang Yu said coldly, What if I don't want to pay? Huh. Seeing that Wang Yu's attitude was so overbearing, the man immediately sat up and stared fiercely at Wang Yu. Someone who isn't afraid of death has come. Do you know who I am? Tell me, who are you? Wang Yu raised his eyebrows and asked. Have you heard of Iron Ox? The kid pretended to be fierce and said, If you don't want to die, then hand over the money. Otherwise, I will kill without batting an eye. Really? Wang Yu pointed at himself and asked, Are you Iron Ox? At least you know what's good for you. The man nodded noncommittally. Then who am I? Wang Yu asked with a black face. How the hell would I know? I'm not. The big man was about to curse, but when he saw Wang Yu's appearance, he couldn't help but be stunned. He immediately frowned and wondered, Why do you look so familiar? You are. This kid dared to pretend to be Wang Yu, so naturally, he was not unfamiliar with Wang Yu's appearance. When he saw Wang Yu's appearance, he immediately shivered and jumped back in surprise. Without saying a word, he turned around and ran. While running, he secretly cursed his bad luck. Damn it, I definitely didn't look at the almanac when I went out today. I've been swindling money here for so long without any problems. Today I actually met the real deal. Racing with Wang Yu, this kid was a person with ideas. Not to mention that Wang Yu had wings that could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. Just by using Qigong, all the agile archers could only look at him in the dust. How could this kid escape from the palm of Wang Yu's hand? Before he could run a few steps, Wang Yu jumped directly behind the guy, raised his foot and stepped on the guy's back. Who knew that the kid was abnormally agile? Seeing that Wang Yu's foot was about to step on him, he suddenly rolled forward and dodged Wang Yu's foot. Then, he stood up with a quick recover, spread his hands, and took a stance towards Wang Yu. Penetrating fist? You are? Seeing that person's refined stance, Wang Yu stopped and asked curiously. But before he finished speaking, the kid flipped his hand, took out 2 daggers, and stabbed at Wang Yu. This kid's profession was actually an assassin. Facing the incoming daggers, Wang Yu's left hand unhurriedly reached forward, grabbed the assassin's wrist, and then ruthlessly squeezed. Ouch! The assassin's hand went numb, and he unconsciously loosened his grip, causing the daggers to fall to the ground. But the assassin was clearly quite unscrupulous. Seeing that his right hand was grabbed by Wang Yu, he waved his left hand, wanting to cut off his wrist. But how could Wang Yu let him do as he wished? His right hand moved diagonally upwards, supporting the assassin's chin, and directly causing the assassin to somersault and fall to the ground. Wang Yu took a step forward and stepped on the assassin's back. Ouch! God Iron Ox, spare me. I know I was wrong. Please let me go. Wang Yu naturally wouldn't listen to him. He exerted force with his foot, causing the assassin to immediately shut up. This time, Wang Yu sternly asked, "Who exactly are you?" The assassin hurriedly said, I'm called Thousand Old Peach Blossom. I'm God Iron Ox's loyal fan." Loyal fan? Wang Yu's face was full of black lines. What kind of loyal fan is this? Your King Black like a fern root fan. It's true, it's true. Thousand Old Peach Blossom hurriedly said, "Look at my attire. I'm dressed up like you. My face is also molded according to yours." Nonsense. If you don't dress up like me, how are you going to scam money? Wang Yu said angrily. Thousand Old Peach Blossom said with a bitter expression, "I'm just trying to make a living. If I had your abilities, I wouldn't have done this. God Iron Ox, on account that I'm your fan, please let me off this time. I won't dare to do it again." Really? Wang Yu glanced at Thousand Old Peach Blossom. Really? Thousand Old Peach Blossom hurriedly nodded. Well, Wang Yu was a soft-hearted person. He couldn't stand others begging for mercy. Seeing Thousand Old Peach Blossom like this, Wang Yu's anger dissipated by half. In fact, Wang Yu also knew that it was useless even if he killed this kid. The lives of players in the game were the most worthless. He couldn't follow him every day, but letting him off just like that would be letting him off too easily. "Do you have money on you?" Just as Wang Yu was hesitating about whether or not to believe this kid, Meng Shi walked over and stood in front of Thousand Old Peach Blossom and asked. Yes. Thousand Old Peach Blossom nodded repeatedly. "Give it all to me." Meng Shi stretched out her hand. Meng Shi was on Wang Yu's side. No matter how unwilling Thousand Old Peach Blossom was, he didn't dare not take it. He hurriedly took out a money bag and handed it to Meng Shi. "Oh." After taking the money bag, Meng Shi weighed it and said, "It seems like you're quite successful at robbing people here." "You flatter me. It's not worth mentioning," Thousand Old Peach Blossom said modestly. "Is she praising you?" Meng Shi glared at Thousand Old Peach Blossom and took out a contract and handed it to him. "Sign this. P.S. Recommend a book, 1 Punch Martial Celestial, 4 Collection Recommendation. Martial Scholar has accompanied everyone for 2 years, and I have deep feelings for this book. I still have no thoughts of ending it, so please don't worry that I will end this book when I start a new one. After all, this book has entrusted me with a lot of things." Chapter 15-14. This is... Wang Yu looked at the contract in Meng Shi's hand and asked in confusion. "Indenture contract." Meng Shi said matter-of-factly, "With this, he will have to listen to you obediently. If he dares to break the contract, he will have to pay 10 times the penalty." Saying that, Meng Shi took out Thousand Old Peach Blossom's money bag and said, "Here is 10,000 gold. If you want to get your money back and not be chased by him, sign this contract." "This works too?" Wang Yu was dumbfounded. Wang Yu knew that this contract was used to hire mercenaries and workers. This could prevent mercenaries or workers from going back on their word, but this was the first time he had seen it used as an indenture contract. Of course, Mengshi educated him sincerely. No matter how nice it sounds, it's not as good as a contract. People nowadays follow whoever has the money. Without this kind of contract spirit, they will be cheated. As expected of the son of a rich family, she had a unique eye for things. Poor thousand-old Peach Blossom was also dumbfounded. If he signed this contract, he would be ordered around by Wang Yu like a grandson. If he didn't sign it and offended Wang Yu, then he wouldn't be able to survive in the game in the future. Moreover, the 10,000 gold that he had painstakingly snatched would be taken away by someone else. As the saying goes, life is precious, but money is even more valuable. Thousand-old Peach Blossom didn't even think about it and signed his name on the contract. Done. Seeing thousand-old Peach Blossom sign, Mengshi took the contract and handed it to Wang Yu. It's settled, it's so simple. Let's go. That's it? Wang Yu still hadn't reacted. He didn't expect this girl to be so efficient. What seemed like an incomparably troublesome matter to him was settled in her hands in a matter of minutes. Mengshi said indifferently, in this world, money can solve the vast majority of problems. That's King reasonable. Wang Yu sighed in admiration. The words of the rich were indeed unyielding. After sighing, the two continued on their way. But Mengshi didn't even walk a few steps before she said in annoyance, "Fly me again." In the end, she was still a young miss. Who would be willing to walk when there was a free flight during such a boring journey? No. Wang Yu refused sternly. That was a special situation. Mengshi planned to use money to corrupt Wang Yu. Sorry. Wang Yu waved his hand. I don't lack money. I'm short on money, beautiful. At this moment, Thousand Peach Blossom suddenly came over and said, I can carry you on my back. Mengshi was startled by the sudden appearance of the thousand-old Peach Blossoms and jumped behind Wang Yu with a cry. Seeing this, Wang Yu said with a cold face, Why haven't you left yet? Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom chuckled and said bashfully, Boss Iron Ox, I'm your man now. How can I leave just like that? F***ck. Wang Yu subconsciously face-bombed when he heard this. Damn it, this Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom was not only good at swindling people, but he was also good at disgusting people. He directly made Wang Yu go over his head, and he unconsciously spat out the dirty work. As long as you don't pretend to be me, Wang Yu said with a look of disdain. Hurry up and leave. If you disgust me, I'll make a move. Don't. Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom smiled and said, The two of you are planning to enter the Essel Mountain Range, right? Do you lack a guide? I'm very familiar with this place. Mengshi raised her eyebrows and said, Is that so? Then it's fine to bring you along. Hey, you're still bringing him? Wang Yu was a little speechless. Who was this grandson? Other than swindling people, he was disgusting people. What was the point of bringing him along? That's right. Mengshi said matter-of-factly. You just spent 10,000 gold coins to hire him. Did that money go to waste? You can't just ignore investments. Fine. You're the boss, you have the final say. Wang Yu couldn't be bothered to refute Mengshi's decision. After all, in the game, such a big girl couldn't be abducted to the mountains to be a wife. Seeing that Mengshi agreed to bring him along, Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom smiled wretchedly and said, If we get assassin equipment later, will the two of you give it to me? Equipment? Wang Yu was slightly taken aback. He was going to explore the Darkness Rift. What did it have to do with equipment? Why, Boss Iron Ox. Seeing Wang Yu like this, Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom was a little unhappy and said, Although I signed a contract to sell myself, I also hope that you can treat me fairly. Otherwise, I won't go. You two outsiders definitely won't be able to find the entrance. Entrance. The Darkness Rift sounded like something with an entrance. Hearing Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom say this, Wang Yu nodded and said, "All right, we'll do as you say." Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom chuckled and said, "Thank you, Boss Iron Ox." As he spoke, Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom walked in front of Wang Yu and Meng Shi. It had to be said that Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom was a very good guide. Although the three of them walked and stopped from time to time, they managed to avoid all the monsters. Their speed was surprisingly fast, and soon, the three of them entered the Essel Mountains. Wang Yu and the other two continued forward for about 10 minutes before a fork suddenly appeared on the road. See that? When they reached the fork, Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom said proudly, "This is the road to the Essel Mountain Ridge. There are many forks in front. Without me leading the way, you definitely won't be able to find the real intersection." Essel Mountain Ridge? What's that? Wang Yu asked curiously. Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom said strangely, "It's a treasure-hunting holy land opened up by the 9 States Empire. The monsters inside all drop excellent equipment. You guys didn't come for that? Then where does this road lead to?" Before Wang Yu could deny it, Meng Shi rushed to ask. "This road." When Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom heard that, a look of horror appeared on his face and he said, "I advise you not to take this road. If you go any further, you'll reach the national border. That's the European server's territory. It's very dangerous." "Is that so? Thank you." Meng Shi smiled and walked straight ahead. Wang Yu also followed closely behind. Hey! Seeing that, Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom said anxiously, "What are you guys trying to do? Do you want to die?" Wang Yu said, "We're just going to the European server for a walk. Why aren't you following us?" "Going to the European server?" Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom said in shock. "Aren't we going to get equipment?" "No." Wang Yu shook his head. "Goodbye." Thousand Flowers Old Peach Blossom cupped his fists at Wang Yu, turned around and walked back. What a joke. Everyone in the barbaric city knew how dangerous the border was. The European server players over there were waiting for the local server players to send honor and reputation to them. In this barbaric city, other than the players from the 9 States Empire who dared to form a group and go for a walk on the other side, anyone else would basically be courting death. Chapter 15:15. Wang Yu did not intend to bring Thousand Peach Blossoms along, but along the way, Thousand Peach Blossoms had displayed the professionalism of a guide, which Wang Yu admired very much. Seeing that Thousand Peach Blossoms was about to leave, Wang Yu could not help but ask, "Do you want this contract back?" Hearing the word contract, Thousand Peach Blossoms immediately stopped in their track. After all, this contract represented the fairness of the system. With this contract, Thousand Peach Blossoms had to unconditionally obey Wang Yu's orders. "Great God Iron Ox, what do you want?" Thousand Peach Blossoms came back to her senses and looked at the contract in Wang Yu's hands with longing. At first, Thousand Peach Blossoms did not feel that there was anything wrong with signing the contract, but after signing it, she felt an invisible pressure. This contract represented freedom. As long as Wang Yu handed over the contract, the thousands of old peach blossoms would be completely liberated. That feeling would be as relaxed as an author who had just paid off his car loan and house loan, and his children had started a family. "Bring us to the dark crevice, and I'll return this contract to you," Wang Yu said with a smile. "The dark crevice?" Thousand Peach Blossoms said in shock. "You really dare to go there?" "What? Don't you want to lead the way?" Meng Shi asked. Of course." Thousand Peach Blossoms hurriedly nodded. Meow, going to the dark crevice, at most they would die once, but if they led the way they would be free. Thousand Peach Blossoms naturally knew what to choose. Thousand Peach Blossoms seemed to have run quite a bit on this border. 10 minutes later, the three of them finally passed through the Essel Mountains and arrived at the border between the Savage City and the European server. 1,000 peach blossoms hurriedly hid themselves. System notification. You have discovered the West Yuan continent. You have obtained XXXXX EXP. System notification. You have discovered the Forgotten City. You have obtained XXXXX EXP. Heh. Seeing the system notification, Wang Yu could not help but feel happy. These two main cities at the border were really brothers in hardship. One was the Savage City, the other was the Forgotten City. It sounded so sad. Quiet down. At that moment, Thousand Flowers' old peach blossom sent a private message. This is already the European server. The players in the European server are different from the players in the local server. They are very aggressive. If they see something good, they will snatch it. If they see something good, they will kill it. Not bad. Meng Shi also nodded. The game is a world that magnifies the dark side of human psychology. Then shouldn't you go into hiding too? Wang Yu said, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of you dying. Meng Shi rolled her eyes at Wang Yu and said, I'm a grandmaster of combat. How can I turn invisible? Fighter? Hearing Meng Shi's words, Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom's face was filled with shock. This big sister is so pretty, I didn't expect her to be so bold and unrestrained. Of course, grandmasters of combat did not even have a weapon, and they would be caught and thrown in a fight, which made it easy for others to take advantage of them. Very few female players would choose this class. Most of them would choose classes like priests or mages that were gentle and not bloodthirsty. What does it have to do with you? Meng Shi glared at the 1,000 old peach blossoms, and the 1,000 old peach blossoms immediately shut up. The players of the Western Yuan continent were just as Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom had said, extremely aggressive. Just as Wang Yu and the other two were teasing each other, a murderous intent suddenly came from afar. Be careful, there's an ambush nearby. Sensing the murderous intent, Wang Yu hurriedly reminded them in a small voice. Ha ha! Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom heard this, and could not help but laugh. Nyogo, everyone says that you people from Chuanjin like to play pranks, but I don't believe it. Are you trying to scare me? I'm often on this road. Whoosh! Before Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom could finish his sentence, there was a sudden sound of air breaking. An arrow with a white light flew from the bushes in the distance, heading straight for Meng Shi's head. If it was any other expert from Chuanjin, they would definitely roll to avoid the arrow without a second thought. However, Meng Shi had always been in a state of consciousness, and her combat ability was a little lacking. Seeing the arrow flying towards her, she was immediately stunned. She had no intention of dodging at all. In the blink of an eye, just as the arrow was about to explode Meng Shi's head, Wang Yu's hand reached out and grabbed the shaft of the arrow. At this moment, the arrowhead was less than 3 centimeters away from Meng Shi. Huh! The archer in the bushes was slightly stunned when he saw this. He raised his hand and fired another multi-arrow. Without waiting for Meng Shi to recover from her shock, Wang Yu loosened his grip on the arrow and grabbed Meng Shi's hair, pulling her down. Meng Shi was caught off guard and was pulled down by Wang Yu. Aya! You're crazy! Meng Shi was both shocked and angry. She was about to explode. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. There were a few more sounds as a row of arrows flew past Meng Shi's back. She dodged it again? Seeing this scene, the ambushing archer was immediately stunned. He was stunned for a good few seconds before he came back to his senses and knocked another arrow. However, at this moment, Wang Yu pulled Meng Shi's arm and walked a few steps forward. He turned around and hid behind a large rock, sealing off the archer's vision. Wang Yu was a super expert who had experienced hundreds of battles. Although he was carrying Meng Shi, catching the arrow, dodging the arrow, moving his position, and sealing off his vision were all very smooth. Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom was dumbfounded. Oh my god! Is this the strength of the strongest expert on the national server? Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom excitedly walked forward and shouted, Nyogo, how did you know there was an ambush? At this moment Wang Yu's eyes narrowed. His right hand formed a claw and grabbed towards Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom. Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom turned pale with fright. Thinking that Wang Yu was going to attack him, he hurriedly jumped back. However, at this moment, Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom and Wang Yu saw the air distort. A blonde assassin dressed in black was pulled out of the air by Wang Yu by the hair. The assassin's expression was the same as Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom's. They were both at a loss. Wang Yu did not stand on ceremony. He dragged the assassin's head and smashed it against the large rock beside him. Bang! The assassin's head was smashed against the rock by Wang Yu and he died on the spot. Mengshi was so scared that her soul almost left her body. What a cruel man, smashing a person's head against a rock. Fortunately, this was a game and there was a limit to the amount of blood. Otherwise, with what Wang Yu had done, everyone would definitely have nightmares tonight. Torque is dead. Quick, go over there and take a look. At the same time, the group of lurkers in the bushes in the distance saw the news of their teammate's death. They could not help but be shocked. 7 or 8 people immediately jumped out of the bushes and surrounded the place where Wang Yu was hiding. Seeing the players walking over, Qian Duo Old Peach Blossom said in panic, "Oh my God! 8 people! And archers lying in ambush! Nyogo, let's retreat." Mengshi also said with a worried expression, "What do we do? What do we do?" You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.